of Paleocrat Diaries. We're going to have a really fun show for you. Some funny stories and a lot about that mostly peaceful protest.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome, what for? Train in the trees, please walk my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no channel for champions and chain no fear.
What an amazing day, everybody. It is to be alive. And alive we are. Alive we are. It is an amazing day. It was awesome to wake up, in fact, to another day here that the Lord has made. And we're going to rejoice in it. We're going to be really glad in it. And especially, in fact, today, because I know that there are a lot of you right now who are probably extremely depressed. A lot of you are probably devastated, right? Completely discombobulated, not even knowing what to do with yourself. Which, by the way, just to be very clear, would be a very tragic thing, a very tragic fact, if you are a member of the wolf pack here at Paleocrat Diaries, in part because it defies everything we stand for, the idea that the trajectory is constantly up, no matter what happens, that we never give up, that we keep on smiling, and that we remember that we're going to die. And if we're going to die, then we can rest assured there's another whole bunch of other crazy junk going on around us. But also because if you're listening to this show, and if you've been listening to this show for, I don't know, 4 months now, or just tuned in this week, for that matter, you will have had a great amount of foresight. You will have had a great amount of foreknowledge regarding what's going on. You'd be aware, you'd say, on the one hand, maybe the visuals from yesterday's mostly peaceful protest would be a little bit shocking. At the same time, you'd say, dude, Jeremiah is calling it. He's pulling a Babe Ruth, literally, for 4 months. For 4 months, day in and day out, day in and day out. And so you simply have to be calm. You have to have peace about what is going on, because this ain't stopping anytime soon. It's the way that cultures go. It is the way that civilizations go. And in fact, I used to play a video, and sometimes I still do, a highlight reel at the beginning of the show. And the highlight reel has a bunch of clips, and some are fun and zany and wild and everything else, and animal uprising. It's supposed to give people kind of a feel, a feel for the show. But see, here's the thing, is that at the very, 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 very beginning of the entire video, right, the very first thing that I talk about is that clash of civilizations where a civilization is beginning to emerge, a culture is beginning to ascend, and there's a flashpoint where the two of them cross. And I say, and we're there right now. I said it on Meaning of Catholic, okay? We talked about this. None of this should be new to anybody. So it's a little disheartening when the wolves cry out and they're like, oh man, today's been really terrible, man. Today's really bad. I can't believe what I'm seeing. And I'm like, ah! Yes, you can. You can believe it. You knew it. And if you didn't, you're not really listening. You're hearing. And I strongly implore you, let me implore you, don't just listen. This show, you tell me, we've been on the money. And I don't want to go on too long because we got fun stuff we got to talk about. And I have an amazing, amazing thing for you. I got to show you to do with the store. It's only going to get bigger and bigger. But listen, from the very beginning of the show, the very first show, it was bad, by the way, first 20 minutes, man. I hadn't done this in a long time, and I'm kind of struggling. I had a whole bunch of notes, unnecessary, by the way. I can do this in my sleep. But I had notes, and I'm going through, and the theme of it was, I wish I could talk about things that are fun. I wish I could talk about things that are happy. And just, we're living in lollipop and lemon drop land. I wish I could, but I simply can't. And here's why. And I go through a whole bunch of things as to why. And then shortly after that, it became a theme for a while of know your enemy. And not just know your enemy, but know that whether or not you wish it to be the case, we are at a place where friends and enemies, and we've been here for a couple years, that we're at a place where that divide begins to become real. And whether you like it or not, you've already been labeled an enemy, not just somebody who is unfortunate or not doing a good job or kind of a Debbie Downer, but that you are an enemy. And you've been this way for years because the enemy has been using words about us that in the English, modern English language, there are no words that are worse than that. They've used the absolute meanest, rudest, most unrealistic, most uncharitable, most absolutely mind-boggling words to describe us. And we have not related to it. And because we don't relate to it and we reject that and we say that's insane, we don't appreciate sometimes the reality of what that is a fruit of. We've been talking about it for months. We are on this, man. And look, so we're going to have fun. We're going to talk about that. Okay. We are going to talk about that. However, we're not dominated by that. It doesn't matter. We could be in the midst of a full-blown hot war. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to be talking about the animal uprising. I'm still going to be talking about all the different fun stories that we find all across the web. And no, Perry, this is not a Set of a Contest channel. I'm not one. And I don't know any of the other people on the channel that are. But the thing is that, no matter what, okay, no matter what, because it's not just never give up. I know, and this is what makes it so astounding. This is why the theme of this show, the message that this show gives every single day, why in fact it's astounding, why in fact it's unique, is because there's a lot of shows out there that are keep on smiling. They want to make you laugh. They're going to entertain you and amuse you to death. But there's nothing beyond that. It's the feel goods, right? It's escape. On the other hand, you have shows that are all about never give up. They're all about the war. They're all about the fighting. All about the fisticuffs with the bad guys. Okay, all of that's well and good. But my daughter and the experience we had with her life and death with cancer, and that those mottos that arose from that when she said, never give up, keep on smiling. In the midst of that world, the profundity of that, the gravity of that, right? To have that on your shoulders and then eventually to work its way inside your heart and come bursting out even in the midst of death. Kissing death on the forehead as it's put into a hearse in front of your home. If you can do it there. And I said, we need to take that. It's so life-changing. It's so life-changing. And it doesn't mean that we're not sad. If you think I wasn't bawling my brains out, watching my daughter get buried in the ground, you're nuts. If you think it was easy for me to smile, you're nuts. But it's that idea. It's that resolution and that conviction. And so today, you better believe it. You better believe it. And I'll tell you what, speaking of believing it, I got to show you this. So check this out. Angela Ailey sent this to me just a moment ago. Watch this. Bump. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, boy. Look at that. So yesterday, was it yesterday that we announced the cups or was it the day before? I think it's 2 days ago. I think 2 days ago, we released some stuff with the cups. Oh, there's another one, too. There's a tall, clear one, a pretty big one, and it's got a straw. So for the people that really want to get it straight to the dome, the coffee, they want to get it straight to the dome with the wolf. They want to do that. That cup is available. You can get that. But check it out. And look, it's even got the screaming face. It's got the screaming face on there, man. We got to have some other phrases, though. I mean, I'm glad we're doing the PaleocratDiaries.com, but we're gonna need some other ones, too. And I want to get it so that maybe, on the back, people might be able to put different phrases or words and stuff like that on there. And so, but telling you, Ailey has been working her brains out to do this. I mean, she's just been so hardcore about making sure that she's able to get a bunch of different designs. We even kind of invested in something. It's a tablet, you can draw. And that way it's easier to edit because she has a lot of editing that she does in order to create these products. But it's not just that one. Check this one out. Boom. It comes in black. Black and white, baby. It comes in black and white. That's what I'm talking about. I know some people like, wearing color white and stuff. Not me. It's not good. I drink too much coffee too, man. I'd be spilling all over the place. I'm wearing dark colors all the time. Wearing dark colors all the time. So I saw that and said, oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh, that is mega dope. It is amazing. And so you can find that, as well as, we'll just go really quick over these, and then we'll show you the comment section. We'll talk about that in a second. Then we're moving on. We got to crank it out because I started way honking late, like super late. Super late. For good reasons, though. So, okay, check it out. Straight to the Dome. You can get the mug. That's available over there at the store, as well as, and the Paleocrat Wolfpack one. I like this one, right? I like the Straight to the Dome. I like it. It's the phrase that we use here during the Wolfpack song, where we that transition from the giggles to the to the fire, and where we go from talking about viral stories and a fun way to wake up in the morning, to just have hardcore heavy metal, pedal to the metal, high octane political analysis and religious and cultural analysis. We do that Wolfpack song. We're howling at the sun, raising our mugs of coffee or water, whatever, to the sky. And this right here, we're getting it. I'm going to start using it, in fact, every day, using different ones of these, so that you guys will be able to see it and everything else. But I love it because my son, Ambrose, drew that picture, and it's got the family there, as well as little Wolfie in the middle. You can see the brown wolf back there. I don't know if it's a wolf or a bear. I forget what he said. I don't know why he called it. Maybe he just put a bear there. He's like, I want to just add a bear. But no matter what, it's festive. It's fun. It's iconic of the family. And we promised yesterday, Angela's working on them now. She's working on Team Tiny Dancer, the story of our family and the life and death of our daughter with childhood brain cancer. The same kind of products, but you'll be able to have those with Samantha's face, her different iconic images that she had while she was here, along with the Never Give Up, Keep on Smiling logo, as well as the Memento Mori logo. I might see if I can have one of those, the skulls with the Memento Mori over it. Really want to do those. So there's a whole bunch, guys, a whole bunch, and you can find it over at Zazzle. My only issue is this, okay, and I'm shooting myself in the foot saying this. I'm kind of bothered by the prices. Like, I understand, I don't know when you go to other creators and you go to their sites and stuff and you see their prices and everything. But when I saw that, I was like, I'm grateful that Zazzle's got a whole bunch of options, and they do have a discount code that you can use. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I didn't anticipate prices being that. And so, I'm kind of looking around. I don't want to have to just drop our store when we just made it, but at the same time, I want to make these things as affordable as I can, for you guys. I'm not anticipating making a fortune. In fact, I think even with this mug, I think it's like 20 for the big jumbo one. It's like $20 or something like that, $25. And I think we all together, we get, I think, 15% of that. So it's not like we're making very much money. I get less money with that than I do with the super chats on YouTube. And I'm like, that's bad, dude. That's bad. So you got that cup. Let's see here. Each and every one of these cups comes with the back, of course, and then we'll just move on. Comes with the original Paleocrat Diaries logo, the crying clown over there. Pretty handsome guy. He's crybaby, but he's a pretty handsome guy, if I can say so myself. And it comes in 3 sizes: jumbo, espresso, and bone china. And it's got all the details there: microwave, dishwasher safe, all that FDA requirements meets that. Print on demand from the United States, in fact, from Reno. So very, 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 very cool stuff. All right, moving on. Oh, yeah, holy cow, look at this. Got to make sure we get down even further. There we go. Get down to the bottom of the screen. Get down there. All right, so here's the deal. No matter where you're tuned in, no matter where you're watching, if you are on, let's get the camera to the small one too. There we go. That's easier, man. That's easy. You can see more of the screen, right? And so no matter where you are, no matter where you're tuned in, if you're on Facebook, if you're on D Live, if you're on YouTube or Periscope or Twitch, it doesn't matter where you are, okay? No matter where you are, if you comment, you're going to go ahead and be able to, I'll be able to see it. And I've got a live one down below. And so that way, while I'm speaking, I'm able to see that. Like I mentioned earlier, a guy asked if it was a set of a conscious channel. And no, it is not. In fact, I've got videos dealing with that. And as well as on the Meaning of Catholics YouTube channel, I talk a little bit about it. But the thing is that no matter where you are, if you're commenting, if you're on Facebook on one of the many pages, because I think today, what are we on? 22. We're on 22 different channels. So if you're on any of those channels and you're like, I'm not seeing other comments, comment in there and I will be able to read them. Like this, for example. Okay. Annette says, Hoots and I are listening while we're driving. It's funny that that's my mom and my brother, his nickname. And she's saying, while we're driving. I didn't, I think maybe she's purchased one of those driving instructor cars where there's like 2 wheels and stuff. Doing that. What kind of clown car are you driving, Mom? What kind of clown car? And I like the fact, man, I wear it on my sleeve, man, that my mom listens to the show. I know people will be like, dude, you're mentioning your mom. I'm like, why wouldn't you? If your mom was commenting, are you the kind of clown? Are you the kind of ungrateful son, ungrateful for your existence and the woman who happened to bring you into it? And who has been a great guiding light and example throughout your entire life? Would you not mention the fact that she's commenting? So I do. I love my mom. But if you see Annette Conrad, you see her on Facebook, and she's probably watching, I'm assuming, at facebook.com/Jeremiah.Bannister. Let's see her. Eva says, good morning. Good morning to you. Same thing with, Gladys Kravitz. Gladys Kravitz Jr. Is it Gladys Kravitz Jr.? Q? Junior Q. Okay. Yeah, good morning to you, by the way. I like that, the prayer and the cross and everything else. We should have actually probably prayed yesterday. I don't want to be like, if we would have prayed, if the Wolfpack would have prayed, then the stuff that went down yesterday, it never would have happened because we predicted the stuff like that would. In fact, that was the theme yesterday. I was saying, are you ready for what's coming? And I was actually worried about it. Tim Flanders reached out to me for Meaning of Catholic, and he's like, what do you think about this? And I said, I told him. And he's asking if it was Antifa and BLM, and I said there's elements of that, but if people want to blame it just on that, that's like cartoon land. Like there's a lot of good reason why a lot of people, right, and even some of them unruly, and some of them stupid, like taking pictures of themselves walking out, the platforms, right? So you're like, bro, you're putting yourself in some grave danger. Individuals showing their faces inside the White House, not necessarily the brightest move in the world. So you're kind of figuring out who these people are. You can go and check them out. And we know for a fact that some of them were Antifa, right? We know that some of them were BLM. We have photographic evidence of this. We can show who they are. In fact, the guy with the big kind of looks a little bit like a Viking or something, Not a real one. I don't want my medieval festival friends to be mad. But the way that Vikings are popularly displayed and stuff, with the pelts and everything, the fur and, the big horns and everything. He kind of looked like that. That guy, he's a BLM Antifa guy. He's at least been to many of their protests, walking around doing the thing, a couple of the first guys into the building and everything. And so there is some of that going on, unquestionably so. But I told him, I said, we were very prescient about this. And I said, so much, in fact, the idea of preparing for it, the idea of preparing for the idea that there's going to be violence and even bloodshed. I told my wife when we first started seeing the videos yesterday, she at the door where they're getting ready to go into the door and everyone's singing the national anthem. She said, what do you think's going to happen? I mean, it was a stunning thing. And I said, blood will be spilled today. I said, it's inevitable. I said, someone's going to die. I said, maybe more than one. And according to reports by the police, there were 4 people who died. So, but good morning, but we didn't pray. And I don't want to think that, if we would have prayed, God would have been like, all right, I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen. The Wolfpack, our prayers are strong. Believe me. Howling at the sun together, there's a real force in that. But some stuff just simply happens. It just does. Gladys says, God gave me total peace about it this morning. I'm really glad, actually, to hear that. Because as I said, there's a lot of people just super deflated by it. I mean, just, outrageously deflated, unnecessarily deflated. Eva says, God bless you, dear brother. God bless you. Yeah, appreciate it. Matt Davis says, shalom. Yes, dude, shalom, dude, to you. I know what that means, brother. I know what that means, man. It's all right. Afro, blessings to all. Blessings, yes. I'm really grateful, man. People coming in, and they're just grateful. And this is simply to show you guys how this works. I don't want to go through all of them. Already there's a lot of them. Phil Morgan, good morning from Denver. Keeping the last 4 things in mind. The axis of evil of Biden and Bergoglio is the globalist war on the one true faith. We're in the thick of it, aren't we, brother? We are in the thick of it, man. I mean, it's just really, it's a bad situation. It's a bad situation, I don't know how else to explain that. Let's see here. Bethany, good morning, brothers and sisters. No stress, Wolfpack. It's just a Thursday. God's will be done. I love you. Ow! I love you. I do. I love you. You are amazing. Yes. Look at this. No stress, Wolfpack. It's just a Thursday. It's a Thursday. Okay? It's a Thursday. The devil would love nothing more. The devil and all his minions, right? The devil and all those liberal, progressive, DNC minions would love nothing more. And the rhinos, let's lump them in, the uniparty rhinos and the globalists and all of the people who view us as an enemy. They would love nothing more than to simply see us be so wrapped up in the chariots and horsemen that when we see them fall, we all of a sudden give up. You're looking at the wrong standard. You're looking at the wrong standard. You have to look up at that cross, period. End of story. That's not going to deflate you because that standard of the cross has been through many a time and place for 2,000 years now. And it's just going this, boom, 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 boom. You want to talk about a train. You want to talk about choo-choo. You want to talk about that do kingdom for 2,000 years. Through the darkest times, relative to size and scale, the darkest times, people thought that they were going through the end. People thought there was no hope. And bada boom, bada bing, like the mustard seed springing from the earth and becoming this amazing, amazing tree. You look at it, you say, man, so sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have time to be bummed out. There's a kingdom to advance here. There's the restoration of all things to advance. And I got to do it. If for no other reason, then I can see right here something inspiring me, that mega buff right arm, the wolf face, the heart, and the American flag. And prayer. That's the way it goes. Ailey says, morning. Yeah, so if you see Angela Bannister, that's Ailey. She's the queen of the staff here, also known as my mega hot half Korean wife. I'm hooked up mega fat. Yeah, it's totally true, by the way. Brian, good morning, Wolfpack, to you. Good morning to you, buddy. Good morning to you. Let's see. Matt says, the day I lost my boy, I die to who I am just here. I don't know what you mean by that, Matt. You know, the day you lost your boy, are you saying you died to... You need to flesh that out a little bit more. I don't know what you mean by that. Grammatically, I'm struggling, but I'm sorry that you lost your boy, by the way. I'm very sorry that you lost your boy, and I know what it's like, dude. I know what it's like, and it's one of those things. There's very few things in the world where I can say, man, I know what that's like. Where you can really kind of get in. It's not entirely. I mean, you're your own person. Your experience of an event is going to be different from mine, insofar as your perception and reaction to that experience is different. At the same time, not many people can say that they've gone through something like that. And when they have, there's kind of a camaraderie that you know what it's like to have to bury your own, to bury a child that should be, in fact, burying you. And it's something that will stick with you forever. It's something that's going to stick with you forever. Let's see. Bethany says, score, Hayden might cry happy tears. Yahoo! Yeah, Hayden might cry some happy tears. That's a good thing. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. So, okay, look. Yes, and Afro says, may God give strength and peace to all who've lost children. Yes, absolutely 100%. We're extremely grateful for all of you, and we're grateful for all of the prayers. And yes, there's a Paleocrat wolf pack that the son did on the sweatshirt. We can do that. Okay, mention it to Ailey, and she'll be working on it right now. John Robert Hathaway, love you, Paleo. Keep it up, Peter. Dude, very, very, very grateful, man. And I love you too, bud. I love you too. And by the way, keep it up. Are you serious? Man, I ain't giving up, dude. I ain't giving up. And people are like, man, this guy just keeps going. He's a freak. And you're like, oh yeah, I've been through some junk, homie. I've been through some junk. I've seen the darkness. I have seen it. I have been consumed by it. I wrote an article over at Meaning of Catholic. It's a beautiful piece, and it was called To Live, and in parentheses, and Die Beneath the Waves. You want to know why I can deal. You want to know why there ain't no giving up. Why there's going to be forever a keep on smiling, no matter what happens. You want to know? That is the article to read. To live and die beneath the waves. Because look, what you gonna scare me with, man? What are these people gonna scare us with? And that's, we got to look at it. And that's why we should look at the crucifix. That's why we should look at the crucifix. When people are like, man, you you're going through some hard times. This is pretty bad, isn't it? I don't know how you're doing it. And you're like, because I can cast all my cares on him. And they say, him who? And you point to that crucifix. You point to that man. And you say, man, there's nothing. There is nothing I could go through that's that. Never. And if he did it, and he's now got all power, and he's now called us to be children of the light, to march forward, then man, what kind of crazy world am I in if I'm so self-consumed that I'm going to look at the hardships in my life and do the boo-boo, boo-hoo pity party where I'm like, I guess it's just all over. I'm like, man, again, get your eyes off yourself. Get your eyes off yourself and on him who has all power and all authority right now. End. Period. Bottom line. Keep on smiling. Keep on smiling. I need some water. All right. So yes, man. Oh yeah, Matt said yes, but it's hard when you lose your only child. That's a good point. Mine was the firstborn, but it's a tough deal, man. It's a tough thing, and you have to remember, okay? Number one, death comes for us all. Number two, we don't know when and where and how, okay? And number three is that you have to trust that you will see her again. You have to. You have to believe in your heart that she sees you now and wants you to be happy, if for no other reason than this life is not only a great blessing, but it's not all there is. And that one day you will be back with her. She'll be in your arms, brother, man. You must believe it. All right. So, okay, but that's the whole point, right? It's the whole point. The whole point, right? And that showing you that no matter where you are, Facebook, YouTube, doesn't matter. You can go ahead, check it out. We're going to be doing a lot more talking, right? I want to talk with everybody about what's going on with this. And greetings from the Slovak Republic. Yeah. Greetings to, look, this is what, Tomas Petko? Is that how you pronounce it, man? Yeah, dude, greetings, dude. I think you're the first one. I think you're the first one from that area that's ever commented. I'm super grateful for that. I hope you enjoy the show. The first half is going to be, well, not the first half. We're going to trim it down because there's a lot to talk about that's pretty serious. So we're going to talk about some stuff that is funny. Okay, we're going to have a good time. We're going to laugh a little bit. But then we're going to talk about what happened yesterday and what's been going, in light of what's been going on for a long time, what's been building up, as well as where it's going and what we're going to do here. Okay, because we're a wolf pack. We are coordinating, right? This isn't a one-man band. I'm not a one-man mouth-based mariachi band. That's hard to say. A one-man mouth-based mariachi band. I'm like, mouth-based. What? Oh, man. All right. So, and people are wanting the Team Tiny Dancer shirt as well. We're going to have to do it. As I said, we have really great pictures of not only our daughter, but of the family. That are really, really good, and we'll have a lot of family-oriented ones, because we promote children, man. We promote children big time, We promote children. I Woke Sip, I don't know how that reads. Lynn Wood and Mike Lindell both just said that President Trump will prevail and have another term. Look, Lynn Wood has said a lot of things. I've been waiting, and I don't want to dog Lynn Wood. I want to believe what he's saying, and I'm not saying what he's saying is false. However, it is kind of a hard thing when it's been in the next couple days, we're going to have this or that, and that did not come to fruition. And not only that, but moreover, that, he said some things yesterday, and we're going to talk about that, what he said. And I've told people, I said, don't count him out, but don't put your eggs in these baskets, man. I'm telling you, don't do it. And if you do that, and you put all your eggs in the basket of Lynn Wood and Mike Lindell, if it doesn't happen, do the right thing and say, these people are liars or they're dangerously optimistic, right? Like, oh, we got it under control, no problem. If you say it's possible, it's kind of like I've never said on this show that Trump is definitely going to win. 0 times. 0 times saying Trump is definitely going to win or he's definitely going to prevail. I've said I am hopeful that he will. I've put myself on the line, man. How many dudes you see wearing this? on the day after the mostly peaceful protest, by the way. I'm not backing down. I'm not backing down. I support this. I've supported it the whole time. But I'm also not a loon bird. I'm also not a loon bird. And I'm not willing to put myself out there in a way that you know, I'm saying things that I can't back up or that I can't make good on. And so we'll talk about it. But again, I hope he's right. And there's still time. The idea that it's just over. Look, there is still time. But it is increasingly unlikely, because the more this happens and the more things are in place, the bigger and the grander and extreme, in fact, the more radical the solution's going to have to be, which is why it's morphed into this idea that, you know, Trump is waiting back, holding off and watching his people are, you know, doing terrible things and he's going to arrest everybody. I mean, that's why it's gotten to that level, is because of it would essentially be an arms race. And so, you know, you got to, in an arms race, you got to be one above the other. Stephanie says, I'm struggling with this. You should not. You should not. You should really listen to the show. And I'm not saying that in a mean way at all. I'm saying that this show is one that, look, you can rest assured. In fact, I would ask anybody, all the people who disagree with me, and there's people out there who are like, dude, Jeremiah, you're a nutbag. I don't like your ideas, dude. You're a complete loon tune. You're an insane person, blah, blah, blah. Go back and you tell me where I have been incorrect, where I have led you astray. You go back and you find it. Anybody. I've been saying it for 4 months. I didn't just pull it out of my rear end. I was saying a lot of this stuff way before. Fox News, dude, they were way behind. I remember when we first talked about this, and I said, I don't even really need to watch Tucker Carlson anymore, ever, because, you know, he's in a legacy medium where a lot of times it has to work its way up for like a day or two, you know, or at least throughout the day. Let's say it's the same day. He's on after me, and I have more time to go into these topics. He's limited by commercial advertisement and limited by the fact that it's a corporate terrible thing over there, the uniparty thing. So he's got limitations, man. I said the same thing back when, you know, the whole something gate was going on. We did a segment on that. It lasted like 40 minutes, going into the deepest detail, going into every single WikiLeaks email, everything from the FBI, everything from, you know, all over the place, every which angle you could take it, and said what the claims were to the extent that they might be true or that it's suspicious and what would be needed for that. And I, to this day, or at least at the time for months, I defied people, said, look, go find something that's deeper and better, right? More exhaustive about that topic than what we did in that segment. And I've been doing this for a while. And so, you know, I just want you to know, you know, and I can be wrong times. My opinions can be wrong. But the way that this is playing itself out, look, this is not, people don't need to be, like I say, you don't need to be a prophet with magical eyeballs to read the writing on the walls. It's what I say. Yeah. The horn guy's name is Jake Ansley, well-known Trump supporter too, not BLM at all. I thought you hated fake news. Yeah. So is he going? I said he went to BLM and Antifa protests and that he's in pictures that way. I said he's in pictures. If I said that he is himself Antifa and BLM, that would be a wrongful characterization. And yes, I am opposed to fake news, by the way, James. Yeah, the horn guys. Yeah, but those there are individuals, and so look, sometimes there are dudes there are BLM people who show up inside of Trump events, and sometimes there are Trump people who show up inside of BLM events. It's the way that goes, man. It's the way that goes. They're called provocateurs. It's the way it happens, man. Let's see. Gotta be with you all. Okay, there we go. I'm glad you're speaking today. You know what? Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see. He's a very well-known Trump supporter, bro. Why is your focus on blaming others, though? Narcissism at its finest. James, what is your problem? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you really going to try to pull this? Narcissism at its finest. Maybe you didn't hear. You should listen a little more closely. Hey guys, those listening from the beginning, didn't I say that when I was talking to Timothy Flanders from Meaning of Catholic, that I specifically said that there may have been some people from protest movements involved in this. And I gave some examples of people that we've spotted, at least at different rallies. Just because they're spotted there does not necessarily mean that they support that. Okay, but we know that they're at least provocateurs. We know that. And I said, we see this. I said, but the idea that the circumstances and conditions that are in place and have been in place and have been accelerating for a long time, the idea that that would not create within many people, some of them rather dumb, and I gave the example of people taking pictures of themselves inside the White House, that you can't find hundreds or maybe even a couple thousand of those who would be willing in that moment to enter into the White House and do that is unrealistic. I said it's a cartoon for people to blame it on Antifa and BLM. It's a cartoon. In fact, I told my kids it would be the same cartoon that goes on with so many people on the right and on the left when they say, well, if we go bomb those bad guys, then the bad guy, the terrorism's gone. They don't understand what blowback is. And yesterday, by the way, yesterday was blowback. Regardless of what you want to think about it. So, I mean, I don't really know where James, I don't know where you're coming from, bro. But I don't think, and I'll put this as charitably as I can. You don't want to do the run around in circles thing with me, dude. You don't want to do that. Okay? It's not your strong point, dude. It's not your strong point. All right. Okay. Yeah, and Stephanie says I chose my words correctly. Yeah. All right. CF says, seems like where I'm at, fat lady is singing in terms of the election. That's what I'm saying. And to me, I look at it and say, that's why I say it's more unlikely. It would demand a lot more. Okay. So as it goes along and as the states do what they do and the courts turn down what the courts turn down and everything else, and it gets to the point that it is right now, by the way, it gets to the point where it seems as if Trump was relegated yesterday, kind of over to the corner. You say, man, that's not somebody who's in control. I mean, his staff is quitting like crazy. And say, in that particular situation, and it makes it more dramatic, it would require a grander reaction, a grander crackdown, which that by itself would be beyond dramatic. I mean, we're talking, there were many different places along the way that if someone was in control, they could have stopped this. But waiting till that point, boy, oh boy, if that's true, man, buckle in. If it's true, I say it's unlikely, not impossible. And I hope people appreciate the nuance, because I'm not going to lead you guys astray, man. I'm not going to lead you guys astray. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that just to satisfy a bunch of people who just want to hear the it's okay stuff, dude. I'm not going to do that. I never have and I never will. You got to be nuanced, man. You got to be nuanced. Okay. All right. So moving on. I said we weren't going to talk forever about that. So we got to talk about some fun stuff, man. And we do. We got to talk about fun stuff. We got to get cracking because I don't want to talk about this very long. In fact, I might even do only 3 stories. Because it is going to be, today's show is just going to have to be more about that because it was such a massive deal. I mean, we're talking, it's not a normal situation. All right. Now, speaking of not a normal situation, apparently police find reported severed foot was a mannequin part. Okay. Yeah. Would you guys, if you saw that, would you really think with that? I mean, look at how clean that cut is, by the way. You see that? Oh, the Delta Police Department. Where is this? Okay, in Canada. In Canada, man. A Canadian police officer investigating a witness's report of a severed foot at the side of the road made a considerably less alarming discovery. It was a discarded mannequin foot. I used to work for a company that made mannequins. And so that's one of the things. It wasn't just mannequins. It was other things that we would make, using castings and stuff and fiberglass. I was in the fiberglass department and everything. Probably lost years of my life in that department doing sanding with fiberglass. It's just pretty bad. But that's where I worked. And there's some creepy junk, man. There's some creepy junk, but it makes sense, that it's got that straight line. But yeah, the driver appears quite distraught and states that there is a severed foot roadside by the pump house. Did they get out and look? Or did they just pass by? He was stopped by a passing driver. Said an officer on foot in Ladner was stopped by a passing driver. Yeah. The Post said the officer went to the location and discovered the object was luckily not a human body part. That's not really luck. It's not really luck, man. It's the foot of a mannequin. And they said if you happen upon a mannequin with a missing left foot, let them know that it can be found at the Delta Police Department. Now, here's the thing. That foot is looking grody. I don't know what kind of disease that foot's got, but it's looking pretty hit. I mean, it looks like it's got some crazy rash, doesn't it? So they should have been more specific. There's probably a lot of mannequins out there that have lost their feet, but not many mannequins out there who've lost their feet that look like that. That's wicked bad, man. That is wicked, wicked bad. So yeah, but if you know about that, you got to contact the police department. You got to let them know. Imagine, guys. Imagine if one of the listeners of the show, if they're like, oh man, yeah, I happen to know this mannequin. I'm friends with the mannequin, and he was expressing to me how bummed out he was. It's bad enough that he's got himself this crazy rash that's out of control, but even worse, he's now lost his foot. He can get it back. He can get it back. The wonders of, the wonders of the craft, the wonders with all the skills that would be able to say, just give me, a little bit of fiberglass and a little heat. I'll sand it down to make it good, and you're good as new, buddy. You're good as new. Mystery llama found wandering loose in Massachusetts. Is that really the one? Is that the one? I think this is. Okay. Yeah, animal control officers are trying to find the owner of a llama found wandering loose in a field in Newburyport area. Dude, that llama's pretty dope. And, what would you do if you go outside? I've had it before where there's like cats. I live in a city, and we had recently a cat that kept coming up to our house, and it was really a nice looking cat. It didn't, it was obviously taken care of. Okay. So it's a cat that's being taken care of, but it's constantly outside our house, and you walk outside and it's purring and rubbing up against you real lovey-dovey and stuff. And we had a dog one time do the same thing. It was winter, actually, kind of around the same time as it is now, maybe a little bit further into January, because it was cold. It was super, super freezing cold. And I remember looking outside, and I saw this dog, and it's just sitting there. It's a little puppy, man. And he's just shivering. And you could see his whole body just trembling. He's in our yard, And my wife was like, hey, a dog was here yesterday. I'm like, you saw a dog trembling outside? She's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, did you go up and talk, see the dog? No, I didn't want to get. I'm like, dude, this dog is literally trembling, freezing to death in our front yard. I think we should probably, talk about it. And we should go out. And she's like, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. I'm like, it'll be fine. No, it wasn't. It was not fine. If social skills had rabies, then that is what this dog had. This dog, we brought it in. We named it Mr. Puppy. And I think my wife would insist that I brought it in and I named it. It was a lesson I learned, okay? It was a lesson I learned. And it was the first hint that I had that the dogs might not really be man's best friend, but might be kind of wiggling in between man and his real best friend, the cat. And so but Mr. Puppy, he loved trash. That was his favorite treat. He'd go in. It didn't matter. You could give him food. It didn't matter. That bugger would be eating diapers. You're like, bro, there is poop in the diaper. This is not good at all. And he's like, and you come home and it's all over the place. The whole floor. I said, come on, man. Come on. So the llama, what would you do? You see the llama in real life. Would you talk to the wife maybe and be like, sweetheart, have you ever thought about maybe owning a llama? What do you have to bring it back? How far is it gone? You never know. It's a nice looking llama though. A nice looking llama. Let's see. Police respond. Wow, man. What is that? 3 in a row about police? Police respond to chickens wreaking havoc. What the heck? At a New Jersey McDonald's. Dude, they've had it. They have had it, man. Let's see. Police in New Jersey responded to a McDonald's parking lot where... They responded to a parking lot? Who wrote this crap? Who wrote this? The UPI. Are they the ones that don't say who the writers are? Yes. Money Down says that it's written by a robot. Written by a robot. Police in New Jersey responded to a McDonald's parking lot where a pair of chickens were reported wreaking havoc and chasing customers. The Washington Township Police Department, it's kind of weird. Yeah, so in New Jersey, the Washington Township Police Department, said in a Facebook post that an animal control officer was dispatched on a report of a flock of chickens. Okay, so it's a bunch of them. Oh, what's a flock? How many is in a flock? At a local McDonald's. This is like serious fighting, dude. This is crazy. Like, I wonder what the beef was with these chickens. They said that they arrived to find 2 chickens harassing and chasing customers and pecking at car tires, the department said. Dude, is 2 chickens a flock? I don't think that's true. That's not even, would that even qualify as enough for a line? would that qualify? You know? I mean, come on. He was able to capture the chickens with help. Why do you think the chicken was mad? Why do you think the chicken was mad? You know, what's your theory about that, guys? I want to know. I want to know what your theory is. You know, because chickens, chickens are pretty dope. I used to have pet chickens. Well, they weren't pet chickens, but we loved them like pet chickens. And so, you know, we had rabbits, cat, dog, you know, fish, we had a whole bunch of animals and stuff. But the chickens, you know, it was pretty cool. I think mine Henrietta. I forget what you'd call the patterns, black and white, almost like checkers and stripes kind of mix. It's interesting, man. Oh, Stephanie Youngman says, McNuggets on the run. They're mad. Maybe there was a flock at one point. But eventually, you know, dun, dun, dun. And by the way, just to tell you, I've had to cut a chicken's head off. It's a weird deal. It is. It's just very, very strange. Man, I've got these weird reflections going on, man, in my glasses. What's going on with that? It's like blinking. Bleep, 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 bleep. Yeah, you see that? Look at that. Look at the blinks. What the heck is that? Maybe it's let me see if I can turn on the computer, see if it's still going on. So, okay. I got crazy energy today, guys. It's like bleep, 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 bleep. I'm going to have those lasers coming out here. Just wait. About, I don't know, 10 minutes. Oh, boy. Yeah, you're not going to want to miss it. So, the thing is, we had these chickens, okay? And it was an interesting thing, you know, being able to have them buggers. And I had to cut one of their heads, not ours. It was, you know, I was living with a friend. Is when I was homeless, my senior year of high school. I was homeless for months. And a buddy of mine, his family said, hey, come on in, you know, you can, be part of the house. You just have to be clean. You know, you can't be staying up super late and being out partying and all that. And they did bring me to school. And so that worked out really great. Their son did. We went to the same school. And, but one day, it was early on too. It was like, I think I got there on like a Friday or a Thursday or Friday. And on Sunday, he was a pastor of a Baptist church. And we get home from church and everything. And they're like, well, we're going to eat some chicken and, you know, potatoes and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, that sounds delicious. And they're like, well, you got to go get the chicken. And I thought, well, what do you mean? I said, I don't have a car. And like, oh, no. You got to go out to the chicken coop. I'm like, what do you want me to do? And they said, take an axe. You got to kill the chicken. If you're going to eat, we all work on, you know, the food. And I thought they were joking. They're like, oh no, he comes in with an axe. He's dead serious, you know? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I went and I had to do that. Woo. You have a whole new appreciation though. You have a whole new appreciation. I don't know if I've ever tasted better chicken in my life. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see here. Mayor left red-faced after failing to spot reflection in the mirror during a live interview. I don't know if I want to see this, man. I don't know if I want to see this. What's the picture of? Oh, he's okay. So he's wearing undershorts, but at least he's got the shorts on, right? He's wearing underwear. But look, that's one of those things, man. That's one of those things in this line of business where you don't know. You know, you don't know what people are wearing down below. I could be wearing an ugly pair of sweatpants. I don't wear ugly sweatpants, but I could be if I wanted. And so, you know, you got to dress for some success. You got to do that. And you're not doing a lot of success unless you're an athlete or something wearing sweatpants. And even then, there's better attire. You don't want to go down that. With the squishy, stretchy thing at the bottom, you know, that kind of clasps tightly on your leg. You don't want that. You don't want that. And but, you know, I know a lot of people, they're all decked out up high, and down below they're looking dumb. I almost wonder if that's one of the reasons right, that it took off the style for a brief period of time of wearing a blazer, like a jacket, and having a pair of jeans, because that's garbage. And at least if the jeans are dark, like a dark blue, then I'm sorry, that just is ordinarily, rarely ever is that an attractive thing. And so a lot of these guys, they would wear that under, they'd be on the show, they'd be on TV, and they're all, dressed up nice. And then you see, oh, well, okay, I guess wearing jeans, I guess. And then he takes the coat off and he's kind of more casual. And now it looks better. But yeah, so, okay, that's not that big of a story. I mean, it is cool, but it's not that hardly hard, whatever. We're in the world of, what's his name, from CNN. That's a lot worse. So I think once you've seen something like that, what is his name? Oh my gosh, what's that guy's name? I forget. It's not Tubbin. Anyway, messed up guy. Okay, messed up dude. He's sitting there in the nude, pretty naked, doing some things, and he thinks that the screen is off, and lo and behold, oh, it's not. And you're seeing what's happening there, and yeah, his career is over. Okay. Woman calls police after spotting a human toe sticking out of the ground, but it's a potato. These stories suck. Why are we even talking about these stories right now? We have more we got to talk about. I'm so sorry. This right here, okay, in fairness, that does look like a toe. And if I saw that, I might think that's a toe, especially if I'm not accustomed to seeing potatoes sticking out of the ground. But, yeah, okay, that looks like a toe. Would you guys be worried about that if you saw that and think it's a toe? And would you reach down to confirm it? I probably would, but I'd have to get one of those, little tool, to pick it up. I wouldn't want to touch it. Not even with a pair of gloves, man. Forget that. I ain't playing Bones. I'm not playing Bones going out. I've seen that show. I'm not going out. You don't know what's beneath that mud. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. In the comments, it says that jacket jeans mess was thanks to Kitzhaber, former governor of Oregon. Is that true, man? Is that true? How far back was that? Because there were even 80s shows, in fairness. I think there were some 80s shows that had that, but they typically had a bolo tie. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. I don't know. I don't know if it does. And some people are saying, CF says they were selling more chicken nuggets about the McDonald's story than Big Macs, getting even with the cows from Chick-fil-A. It's probably what it is. They're getting even. They're mad. They are very, very, very mad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. I would probably check it out before I report it. I don't know if I want to see this. I'm not entirely sure this is appropriate for cubs. That's not really. Picked up the cutest thing on the way home on Mini. I don't really know. Yeah, we're not going to do that one. It does look a little bit. I'm not going to do that one. We're not going down that road. Especially because we've got this. Leopard strays into medical college in Karnataka. In Karnataka, where the crap is that? In part, according to, let's see, shared on Twitter by Indian Forest Service officer Parveen Kaswan. Okay, I got you, man. Yeah, medical college in Karnataka. Where is that? Medical college in Chamarajanagar. I don't know how I'm trying, folks. I'm trying. I'm seeing that, and all the phonics, man. It's just like crank, 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 crank. I'm looking at like Chamarajanagar. Like, I don't know if I want to pronounce that. I don't know how it's gonna come out, man. Wish me luck, boys and girls. Wish me luck. CCTV footage that has gone viral online shows a leopard walking the corridors of a medical college in Karnataka. According to the newspaper Sakshi Post, the leopard strayed into the hostel campus of a medical college in, that word. Surveillance camera footage that shows the leopard running into the hostel building was shared on Twitter by Indian Forest Service officer Parveen Kaswan. He initially identified the big cat as a black panther, the common name given to the melanistic big cats, before adding that the leopard filmed here could have been non-melanistic too. Who cares? Who cares? You'll have like one person who's like, is it melanistic or not? Is it or not? I guess, okay, for journalistic integrity, for the history of all mankind, if anybody goes back and says, remember that one, what kind of animal was that? You got to make sure it's a common leopard. It's a little bit of a dark complexion, it seems. They're more concerned, man. They're more concerned about the melanin. Yeah, the melanistic. They're more concerned, dude, about that. You got a freaking leopard at the campus. And you're worried about melanin. You're worried about the coloration of it. Dude, it's where we are, guys. It's where we are. Okay? We're there as a society right now. People can look and they're like, oh my gosh, look at the color problem happening here. And you're like, no, wait. The color, I get that, but there's something bigger going on here. I don't know. For example, like a leopard that is straying into the hostile campus. That'd be wicked bad. You got to boot, scoot, and boogie out of that bugger. You have to. There's no way you're going to chill with the freaking leopard. And now, look, I like leopards. They're on my side. You don't know, though. You don't know why that leopard was in there. Did that leopard want some drugs? It's always possible. Always possible. Because we know, right? Where did it start? Was it starting with the... Well, it started with monkeys, man, and great apes and junk. They like eating and drinking fermented things. They get super wasted. In fact, the ones that get wasted end up kind of being at the top of the hierarchy with these, with the apes and monkeys and stuff. So they're like super trashed, and they're like, those are the leaders. Those are the leaders. Those are the people, those are the monkeys that we need to have in control and stuff. But we also know that, that we had an alligator. Wasn't it an alligator that was on ketamine? Just blown out of its mind. They were talking about, tripping Alice in Wonderland stuff. Oh, no, helium. That is getting cranked out. Helium. It's all blown like, hey, man. Well, hey, man, what are you on? Hey, buddy, what are you on? And he's all like, I'm on helium, dude. And he's like, but helium's not going to make you wasted. And he's like, speak for yourself. Come on. So you got that. And then you got the dolphins. The dolphins are chomping on those puffer fish. They're getting blown out. They're sharing it with each other, and they're like, whoa, dude. They're seeing crazy junk. That's like Joe Rogan experience level stuff for those dolphins. So I don't know. You just don't know. Maybe it's an opioid addict. You have no clue. You don't know what these animals are going through. It's got to be real tough. It's got to be real tough. Lastly. Woman disowned by grandma after she discovers her OnlyFans account. Okay. Yeah, obviously. I mean, you would obviously have to have a serious problem with the lady. Okay, if that's not from the OnlyFans, if that's just simply a picture of her and she's just taking that, you can basically bet she probably has one of those. I mean, I don't know. Ava Lewis, 22. Ava Louise. So sorry. Ava Louise. I'll get it right, guys. Just give me a couple times. I'll get it right. Ava Louise, 22, is something of an Instagram celebrity. Oh, so that's the gateway drug, by the way. That's the gateway drug. The full-blown stuff, that's like TikTok land. Well, it leads to TikTok that leads to OnlyFans. That is the progression. So if you want to stay away from OnlyFans, you got to stay away from TikTok. And if you want to stay away from TikTok, maybe you should seriously consider roping in the way you portray yourself, i.e. your brand, on Instagram. Because essentially, it's true, isn't it, guys? And girls, isn't it true that social media is not only a game, okay? And I think it should be considered that. It's a game, but it is also a brand. And we've essentially branded ourselves. There's a kind of expectation regarding the frequency of posting, what kind of stuff you post, the way that you look, and we inflict a lot of that upon ourselves, but it's reciprocal, okay? Viciously reciprocal. Let's see. However, she also shares some slightly different snaps over on her OnlyFans. Oh, some slightly different ones. And maybe that's true. By the looks of it, it is a little bit true. It is, because she's posting some racy junk over there on Instagram. Oh, boy. Where folks can pay a monthly subscription fee to see a bit more than the Instagram privacy will allow. Unfortunately, her family didn't do their research and ended up subscribing. Oh, no. Oh, no. They subscribe. They're like, oh, I support you, baby. I support what you're doing. Dang! Yeah, you're going to hell, chick. You are struggling in your life, okay? You are on the slippery slide to HE double hockey sticks, and you got to get out. It's one thing to be hot. It's another thing to be on fire and for all eternity. So you may as well, and being hot is a fading thing. The fires of hell do not. So please consider, I implore you, in fact, to consider not only getting rid of your OnlyFans account. That's a symptom, right? That's a symptom of a real deep-rooted problem. But ultimately, you're going to need to take a knee for Jesus Christ. In fact, it's, by the sound of things, the only thing you should be taking any kind of a knee for. So that's just the way that goes. And, I won't go any further than that. So, yeah, I mean, she's doing okay. So she's in the world of duckface. She's in the world of, man, are her eyes really that big? Dang, girl. That's, I don't want to dog that. Look, big eyes, it's kind of hot. But the face, though. You guys think I can do that? I don't think so. Yeah, I can. I mean, obviously I can. Yeah. It's what it is. It's monkey stuff, dude. This is monkey stuff. This is, it's like the monkey. It's like the monkey that took the selfie. You think that monkey ain't gonna do those lips? Monkey's definitely gonna be doing those lips. That's just totally monkey town. 100% monkey jungle town. We're not even gonna look at anything more than that. She's a scandalous woman. We're not gonna play that game anymore. We are done with that. And by the way, we are done with our funny stories of the day. I'm not talking about that one. It's a Denmark cartoon. I think it's in Denmark where the guy's, a big string comes out and whatever, and it kind of looks like it's coming from the place and stuff. And there's a lot of people that are like, well, this is a cartoon for kids, and why would you watch this? And other people are saying it's not sexual at all. And you kind of got to look at those people and go, are you the same people that think that, that tranny reading hour, the drag queen reading hour stuff? Do you think that's a good idea? They're like, oh yeah, that's great. And I'm like, you think that's for kids? Then you definitely think, Long John Silver over there is for kids. And so, oh man, Denmark, you are struggling. You are struggling, man. It's bad over there. It's just the whole world. The whole world is so struggling right now, isn't it? And by the way, I want to thank everybody who's tuned in right now. I want to thank all of you. And make sure, if you love this show, and I know you do, if you love this show, we're about to talk right now. We're about to talk about the events that went down yesterday. Okay? We're going to talk about the events that went down yesterday. I have been told, not by the powers that be at the network, but the powers that be, the overlords and masters of the universe, that you are not allowed to show. They're going to be paying attention to videos. And it's going to be smaller players, right? Videos that share programs that share videos from yesterday's event, or show any kind of photos from yesterday's event or tweets from yesterday's event that they believe promotes it and glorifies it. So suffice it to say, there will be very few videos at all of this. In fact, I just avoided it. I just avoided it completely, almost completely, and said, I'm not going down that road. I don't want nothing to do with that, man. Because this is a long haul. This is something that, it would be one thing if they said, you need to say that it was bad. I wouldn't, or that it was entirely wicked, and that, this has nothing to do with everything going on. It was a completely unreasonable reaction and everything else. It'd be one thing if they said that we had to toe that line, because I've been predicting this thing. I have been predicting these kinds of events happening for months now. For months. And from the Trump people, by the way. From the people, the deplorables. If you think that deplorables couldn't do that, you don't know who deplorables are. I'm serious. They are, and I'm not saying deplorable in the sense that they are actually deplorable people. I'm saying the way that they are treated, the way that they've been viewed for a very, 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 very long time. The way that their needs, the way that their aspirations, the way that their culture, beliefs and values, education level, the way they speak, have been mocked and marginalized for years. You can still, in fact, here's the proof. Name the demographic you can still make fun of. Name the demographic you can still make fun of. It's easy. White hillbilly. That's super easy. You can do that all day long. Any show could do that all day long. With who's gonna complain? And if they say, well, that's because those people are in power and they've got privilege, those individuals don't know what the heck they're talking about. I did an entire podcast, 45 minutes long, did an entire podcast on the rise and triumph of Trump's deplorables. If you have not heard that and you want to know who those people are, the middle American radicals, you want to find out who those people are, where they came from, the experience that they've had as beautiful losers. That's what they used to be called, beautiful losers, for a long time. They just upped the ante. Now it's deplorables. Now it's enemies of the state. Now it's terrorists. So we're going to talk about that. And you're going to want to hear it. And so make sure if you want people to tune in to understand what this is, why this happened, where this is going, who's to blame. If you want that, you're going to have them tune in, okay, real soon, because we're going to take a quick break here in a second. We're going to do the Wolfpack song, which is where we raise our glass high to the sky and we howl at the sun, resolving in our heart to give our best every single day. And we do that here. It's what keeps us on track. It's, in fact, the core. It's the center of the show. We have it actually at the center point. And so make sure, and we're not going to talk about anything else. That's the only topic we're actually going to talk about. I don't want to go on for 2 hours about that either. Okay, that's superfluous. I have a whole bunch of stuff that we had about COVID and other things, and I said no. This is an historic event, and I really feel that it needs to be discussed in a way that we do it here. Okay, and so make sure that right after this break, we're going to come back. We're going to do the Wolfpack song right after that. And as soon as we're done with that Wolfpack song, we're going to talk a little bit to the wolves, a little bit to the Wolfpack here in the comment section. And as soon as that's done, we are getting right into the discussing and analyzing, the events surrounding yesterday's mostly peaceful protest in Washington, D.C. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back here. Let me make sure I've got the Wolfpack song lined up in here. And I got a lot of stuff in there, but no Wolfpack song. Look at this. Got to do that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a moment. Love this video? What a coincidence. I do too. Now head on over to Paleocratdiaries.com for more videos, blogs, book and movie reviews, even Team Tiny Dancer stuff. And don't forget to check out our new members and services pages. It's how I pay for my kids to attend Catholic school. Until next time, Memento Mori. All right, I hope you have your coffee ready. I know that I do. And remember, you can go over to the store at Paleocrat. It's not at Paleocratdiaries.com yet. It's not at Paleocratdiaries.com yet. In fact, if she could put it in the comments section, we can make sure. Well, no. I take that back. Go to Paleocratdiaries.com if you want to see the mugs and the sweatshirts that we have at the store. Okay, you can go. And I have the most recent blog post, okay? So if you go into all posts, it'll be right there on the main page. You'll see a post that has a cup, the Wolfpack, Paleocrat Wolfpack cup that we've got done by my son. If you do that, okay, and you go check it out, if you click on any of those pictures, it will take you to the items at the store, and then you can navigate the rest of the items that are being put up there. We're going to be adding a lot of stuff, not just for the Wolfpack, okay, but also for Team Tiny Dancer. That's the story of my daughter's life and death with childhood cancer and how God used those terrible and tragic and marvelous experiences. It was spectacularly unfortunate to lead our family back to the faith. And so you got to do it. You got to do it. You can go and check that out again, Paleocratdiaries.com. All right. Well, here we go. All right. You know it's time. You hear that song. That is the anthem. That is what we rock out to every day when we go straight to the dome. Because we got a lot to do beginning right now. Ow! Oh, come on. Give it everything you got right now. Look around you. Do not be afraid. Stand strong. You're a child of the light. Jesus Christ. Ow. Ow. Come on. Do not be afraid. Be bold. Be strong. Be beautiful. be a member of the wolf pack. That's what we do. That's what we do. We roll like that here. Okay? We roll like that here. So, okay. Right back to the comment section. Okay? Right back to the comment section. Stephanie Yockman said it's theory overload. Talking about the situation with all these people and what they think they're going to be able to do about the situation at hand with Donald Trump that we're going to talk about. Right? Theory overload, man. This is tough. And we talk a lot about we talk a lot about theory here, but we're not leaving it in the abstract anymore. That's not the place we are in the cycle of life, okay? This is not where we are. We are at a place where we need to be people of action. The fruit of this, the evidence of this was the appeal 4 years ago to someone who said, I don't want to be all talk, no action. We saw that as an inspiring thing, maybe even making up for the lack that we had in our own lives of having been caught up in so much of the jabberjaw, in so much of the talky talk, that we weren't willing to put that talky talk into walkie walk. And so now we do. And we must. And so on this show, we can talk about all of these abstract things. We can talk about theory. We can talk about, policy, all this stuff. But the idea behind it all is, what can we do? You're being equipped here, not just in the mind. You're being equipped in a way that says that you're able to figure out for yourself in communion with other people, figure out what you can do in your everyday life as a Johnny Q and Sally Sue. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter where you are or what you do when you use your gifts and talents to the best of your ability. When you do, when you resolve in your heart, I'm never going to give up. I'm going to keep on smiling, and I'm going to remember that I'm going to die. This is a short period of time. I don't know when I'm going to die. I don't know how I'm going to die or where I'm going to die or who I'll be with when I die. We know nothing about that, but we believe in our hearts that what we do now has ramifications, not just for the here and now, not just for space and time, but for things beyond that. Because we may close our eyes here, but we will never have that same closing of the eyes where we'll be going, either which way, which is why here at the show, we take a knee for Jesus Christ every single day. We start with an action, by the way. If you take a knee for Jesus Christ every day, and that's what you resolve, if you do that, then you are essentially, let me get this thing out of here. I gotta get a bigger camera anyway. I gotta have the bigger camera. Okay. So the thing is if you are taking a knee for Jesus Christ, if you are doing that each and every day, okay, well, I'll put this back on. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I just did that. Why did I take that off, man? I gotta keep it on. So I'm sorry if it covers it up a little bit, but we're just gonna have to do it that way, okay? And so the thing is that if you're taking a knee for Jesus Christ every single day, right out of the gate, right in the morning, and you're saying, man, I believe in you, Jesus. I believe in God. No matter what comes my way, I'm going to resolve to do this. I'm honoring you as King of Kings, Lord of Lords, all power and authority right now. And the things that I do, whether they be small or great or whatever, that in your eyes, that's like, even the widow's mite, that you're using those small things to the best of your ability. You're making those sacrifices. And that they're relevant to what you have been given. The parables with this, you don't hide it. Don't dig a hole and put it in the ground, right? Put that stuff to work. He gives you gifts and talents. Work that out. Okay. Think deep thoughts. Think about it. A lot of people, when they think about it, they just go, well, right away, this is the end of it. My initial impression, boom. That's not discerning. We're not magic people. It's not like, somebody's just kind of this magician that is like, oh, wow, I heard something and I immediately discerned this. No, you didn't. It takes time. It takes prayer. Okay? It takes effort. It's not easy. It takes sacrifice. But you do it. And I'm doing it right now. In fact, it was somebody yesterday, I told you, I talked to somebody on the phone. It was a really important conversation. And it stuck with me all day. Stuck with me all night. Asking me the question, why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you have the audacity to believe that you should write a book? And someone said, what do you mean by that? Think about it. Why do you have the audacity to think that someone wants to read your book? Why do you think you should? Why do you think that what your beliefs are, what your experiences are, that God wants you to take time to write about those things? And if you believe that, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing that then? Why are you doing 3-hour-long shows every day? That's a difficult question, by the way. It wasn't meant to be 3 hours long. But the thing is when you look at it, and you're like, man, so 3 hours goes by, and you're spamming the internet. Why, are people going back and listening? Is there a better way for you to be doing what you're doing? These are things, look, it may have ramifications on the way that stuff is done here. But I'm also working out my salvation with fear and trembling. I am also being a steward of the gifts and talents that God gave me, and I'm using them and saying, how can I best use them? Again, action. Action. Barbara said, it's getting more and more difficult to get kiddos to nap by the time the show starts. Look, I really apologize. I really apologize for that. I've been starting way later. Today, the last couple days, last week, it's been for a specific reason. And we're hoping to get it fixed up and stuff. All right here. Right here. Alice says, thanking God for his provisions, the gift of life and good health, and praying that his grace and mercy will be with us in the new year. That's the way you got to do it. That's the way we got to do it. And it's not just about ourselves. I mean, we're talking about, being with other people. Okay. And so that's an important thing. Let's see here. Trying to be, CF says, trying to be a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. Talking about the, okay. Are you talking about the style of clothing and stuff? I got you, man. Let's see here. Yeah, people asking, what's the lady doing the OnlyFans? What is she going to do when she gets older? Sadly, the more perverted our society gets, that's one of those careers that you can keep going until, you're kind of a sack of dust. I mean, it is. I mean, it's very gross. It's very, very, very gross. But it's just what they are, man. Yeah. Yeah, and people say the idea of just, oh, look at me. It's what it is, man. I mean, that right there, man. That's some serious sin, by the way. On multiple levels. And people saying, get that nasty girl off the screen. Oh, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, people asking when Facebook and YouTube will be declared public utility companies. If ever, I don't know. If ever, when the uprising against the establishment in this country reaches such a point that we actually have the ability to overcome the system as it stands right now, because right now the people in the House, the people in the Senate, they are bought and paid, man. They are bought and paid by these groups. They ain't doing nothing. They're not taking it away. They're not taking it away. They'll give lip service. They'll do the Lindsey Graham thing. The lip service that maybe only Lindsey Graham could give. That you say, oh yeah, I really believe this is an important topic. We're going to deal with it. Like all of those investigations that were going to be done into what is it, man? Crossfire Hurricane. Oh yeah, we're going to have a lot of those. He was on it, dude, wasn't he? He was really on it. What a joke, man. That's why when I saw him last night and he's sitting there, Joe Biden won fair and square. Maybe I'm the right person that needs to be doing the talking. Maybe for the other weirdos around you, but for Americans, we look at you and we're like, dude, you are, number one, you're a shill. You are a grifter. You're somebody, you know how to ride that establishment wave. You know how to do that. It doesn't matter. In season, out of season, man, you're going to ride it. Unbelievable. Let's see, Greg says, great observation on your part to point out Trump was on the side. I hope it was an act of humility on his part. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. That he was on the side of what? Did he I don't know exactly what you mean by that. That he was on the side. What do you mean by that, Greg? If you're still tuned in, man. And yes, remember His Majesty, our Lord Jesus Christ loves an underdog. God bless. Totally true. I agree with that, right? So, okay. Oh, and there's the links. So I can go ahead and put these in, and then we're gonna be out, and we're gonna be doing our thing. Okay. We're gonna be doing our thing. So, oh, she's got a whole bunch of these. So, okay, Diaries/products. All right. I think this is the Zazzle here. I'm gonna share it with everybody, and that way they can go ahead And they can go ahead and, let's see here. Here we go. I think there's only 2 links. Those are the products, okay? So, all right, let's see. Last one. MMSU 31 have turned their backs and denounced the protesters. Okay. I'm assuming, okay, so what now? Biden has won, even if he cheats, and most of the government have legitimized him. The protests in D.C. for the past few weeks have not done anything on the government, and the Trumps have turned their back and denounced the protesters. Look, it's one of those things. I know this with the way that he treated the Proud Boys, for example. And people, look, there's a way to look at politicians. If you start from a cynical perspective, I'm philosophically a little cynical on this, right? I sit there and I'm like, people are like, man, I can't believe he said he never heard of us. And I'm like, I can believe that. I can believe that. And you just keep on marching on, you know, or the idea of, well, man, he said, stop being violent. You got to be peaceful. You have to understand, what if he said, continue the violence? What if he said, we need to keep on going and we need to make it more intense? I want more people there. At that point, it's not just what the media has said that he incited something. It's a different thing to say you incite the violence. It's another thing to say that's a full-out declaration of war. Because they're already labeling what was done as an insurrection. So if they're labeling what was done as an insurrection and they're saying he was inciting it, you are literally tiptoeing that line. If you make that decision and he goes out and says, you got to go do it, bravo, more, go, go, go. If you do that, you're at that point now, you would be at that point where it wouldn't just simply be inciting that. It would be, no, this is a shot across the bow and it's on like Donkey Kong, and you would have military people lining up. I mean, it'd be like that. And they were probably on guard for that anyway. And it says he wasn't in a commanding location. So he just went to Texas, to the same area. You know, what would be the point? What was he doing? What was he doing? Seemed he was pushed to the side. Okay. Yeah, yes, he was quite obviously pushed to the side. But look, does that go to his merit? Does that go to his merit? That he's pushed to the side? And look, I'm open. What do you guys think? What do you think should have been done at this point? What do you think should have been done? Should he have treated it differently? The initial reports were that in speaking with, in fact, we'll just go to it. I'm not even going to waste time anymore. Okay. We're going to go to the thing here. First time. Okay. So, okay. First of all, to explain it, this is the first time the U.S. Capitol has been breached since it was attacked by the British in 1814. Okay. So the historical context of that is that, and that's why this has to actually be discussed. I'm not going to talk about any other topic. This is the only one. And we're going to dedicate maybe the next 30, 45 minutes. I don't want to talk forever. Okay. But the first time since 1814 this has gone on, it's an extraordinary situation, an extraordinary event. And the question becomes, whose fault? You know, there's a lot of people, and I know a lot of individuals who will say stuff like, well, you know, it's the fault of Antifa, or it's the fault of BLM, or it's the fault of deep state provocateurs. Those people, by the way, are real. If you know, I've watched some great documentaries about provocateurs and the way that they're used by our government, oftentimes, the way that they are used to agitate. Okay, it's an idea that, you know, is somebody in a group, you might see this, where you've got a person in a group, and that person is really intense and is kind of egging everybody on. Might even get heckled by the cops, and then all of a sudden, for some weird reason, ends up getting the handcuffs taken off, and they go walking around, and apparently they're buddies. This happens, and it's not just yesterday. There's a great video. I need to analyze it a little bit deeper, but there's a great video that's put out by someone that's even questioning a lot of the agitation that goes on with BLM and Antifa. And that a lot of the people that you see, you're not only seeing once or twice, but many different times that you're seeing them and that they're all over the place, and that when they get arrested or whatever, you end up finding out, man, these people go way back and they used to be, involved with other things. And then you find out, well, where do they work? Oh, they work at some kind of national security place. And you approach them and they freak out. They're real. They're totally real. And so we need to, number one, we need to accept the reality that a provocateur, that an agitator is a real thing. On the other hand, I think Cassandra is totally right about this. Cassandra Rules over on Twitter. Being like, quote, this is Antifa's fault when Trump supporters rise up is the lamest of takes. Some of you are goofy as heck. By the way, it's totally true. Like it's not even a doubt. It's not even up for debate. I've said this before. Again, you should go back. If you haven't heard it, really go back. There's two podcasts in particular that I would say you got to listen to, both on my YouTube channel. You can go and check it out. One of them is called Scorched Earth. And I think it's when tolerance goes too far or when empathy. It's one of the two. And it has me kind of doing this weird face, and it says, I have to, tolerate what kind of thing. And I go through and I talk about all the ways that we've been just battered around for a very long time. And that this is an old thing going on. It's not new. And that it's built up and built up and built up and built up to such a point that we aren't just, in a place where it's an unsavory opinion. It's a place where they're literally calling you a Nazi. They are making it so that you don't have jobs. And it's not just that. Okay, so I could talk about that. It's also the podcast that I did called the Rise and Triumph of Trump's Deplorables, where I go into the backstory of who these people are. Why did Trump have that appeal? The mainstream media and all the politicians were royally confused. I was one of those people that from the get-go, he comes down the escalator and I was putting myself on the line, getting mocked because I was an unbeliever at the time. I was an atheist at the time. And I was sitting there and I was saying, oh yes, not only is he going to win the primary, he could win the whole thing. You want to find out what it was like? Go watch the video of people on Bill Maher laughing at Ann Coulter. You boys had some foresight. Because I understand where this all started, where this came from, who these people are, and how it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger as time went along. The more jobs that went overseas, the bigger it got. The more wars and kids who died overseas, the bigger it got. The more the lobbyists took control and the banks took control, the bigger it got. The more that schools began to clamp down on religion, the bigger it got. The more they started peddling perversion, the bigger it got. The worse society began to be. The weaker that the church began to be. And it makes me sick. When people who analyze this, they don't even know what they're talking about. They say, well, a lot of the people who were Trump supporters, they didn't go to church. They were believers in God, but they didn't go to church. And I sit there and I say, can you blame them? I mean, in a way, yes, you can. On the other hand, the church is its own kind of deep church. It's gone through its own thing. How many churches can you name in the last 20 years that have gone down the same path that was blazed by weirdo churches like the Episcopalians? How many? How many of them have subscribed to diversiphilia? How many of them? It's sick. And so more and more and more people are like, why should I go? And here's some honcho up on the stage doing that seeker sensitive crap, the seeker sensitivity, telling me now that I got to be completely down with things that are just obviously against Scripture, obviously against the natural law. Why? Oh, because the Supreme Court said so? Screw you, man. Screw you. Where were you when the jobs were lost? Where were the churches? You're going to see, you want to talk about an apostasy. Watch what happens with COVID. Because what's going to end up happening with this is all these people are going to say, look, where was the church? I already know people. I know people that have been in church all their life. They've been involved with it. They've taught there. And all of a sudden, guess what? They're out now. They don't go. They insist, they still believe in God. They still believe in the Bible. We're talking Protestants, right? Protestant friends of mine, even family. And they sit there and go, look, I can't keep going because our church just watched as tons of its members not only lost their jobs, but some of them lost their homes. Some of them lost their homes, So what do you do to that? You tell me, how many other people have you heard even talking about the idea that through the COVID crisis, recognizing it as a limited time, and the crisis, look, I've said that the crisis of COVID is more to do than with the virus itself, has more to do with the way that governments, including church governments, have chosen to respond and deal with it. But if they've acquiesced and they're not on the front lines of all this and they're not figuring stuff out and everybody's losing their jobs, people losing their livelihoods, not able to even provide for their kids anymore, alcoholism going through the roof, depression going through the roof, antidepressant use going through the roof, drug abuse through the roof, suicide through the roof. Despair, man. Despair going through the roof. You think that they're going to want to go back to the very group that just left them hanging? You're out of your mind. They won't want anything to do with you. Name other shows. Tell me. Name other shows that are out there saying that we need to go back to the scripture and say, what do we need to do? There was a time, and I've said it before, there was a time when the apostles and all the people come in for the feast, right? The Jews are there for the feast and a whole bunch of them convert. They hear them speaking in tongues. And then there's another instance where thousands more, but they're there for a limited time. All the people from all over. And so what do? They're not going to have clothing. They're not going to have food. They're not going to have shelter. So what do? As a church, they work together. And they did something extreme for a limited time. They said, under these conditions, due to the nature of the situation, we need this church body, we need the people here to commit to sharing things in common, breaking bread in one another's homes. And it was so, look, if someone said, well, that sounds crazy. Oh, it's crazy enough that when people tried to disobey it, God struck them dead. God struck them dead. You have to be able to take seriously the situation. And again, I've told you guys, we're in a world where for years and years and years and years and years, these deplorables have been assured by conservative Inc. that the intermediate institutions in the private sector are the ones that need to take care of it, and we don't need the government to do it. Well, you know what? There's never been a time ever where these private institutions would be able to come together and brainstorm and say, look, what can we do to in order and ensure that people don't starve to death, that people are not going to be thrown out on the streets, that people and their children will continue to have a home and something to eat. And what happened? What happened? So the idea that these people are not going to be ticked off, especially after we know the shenanigans that went down. We all saw it, right? I shared evidence after evidence after evidence after evidence after evidence for weeks. I shared them. It was ad nauseum. It was actually upsetting. But I shared it. And in the end, what did it matter? I said recently, what? There is no electoral solution to this. The idea that if we just go ahead and vote for somebody, that all of a sudden, guess what? It's going to work out, guys. You just got to go and vote. Go door to door. This a lie. It is a lie, just like it's a lie that those people actually represent you, because they don't. I've worked inside of a state house. I've sat down in the rooms with these people. I have talked with them on an intimate level in their homes, in their offices. And I can tell you right now, they do not represent you. And even when they do, to the limited degree that they might, a lot of times it comes down to opportunism or for power and for money. And I don't want to criticize too badly, because the truth is, the very nature of the system that we've accepted, the very nature of democracy, requires these people to whore themselves out. Requires it. They have to pitch themselves. And it's all under this lie, this big umbrella lie, that says that they represent. How do they represent, by the way? If think of yourself, for matter of fact, and let's say, I've said this recently, imagine you have 100,000 people in your town or in your district, right? You're going to have a representative, and you got, however many people you've got under you, or in your area, and you just take this as a sample, okay? And you say, that person, if they represent you 100%, let's say on every single topic that could possibly come out, they are simply representing you, then they're not representing how many other people? You can represent yourself fully. The moment you sever that, they're not representing themselves. What are they, a robot? Are they just a carbon copy of you? Or do they say, well, I'm representing everybody? How do you do that? How do you actually do that, by the way? You tell me. Otherwise, stop giving me this crap. I understand the reason for the lingo. I understand it. But there's a lie that's hidden inside of there. And that's literally right out of the gate. That is the first assumption. They want to aspire to represent a whole bunch of people with different opinions and religions, views regarding almost anything under the sun. And they'll go and say, I'm speaking for the people. That's just a layer after layer of lie. They don't support you. So is it surprising that it's 93-6 in the Senate to ratify the illegal certification in Arizona? Republican Party is officially over. And is it surprising that in our current situation, that Twitter would have at the bottom, this claim of election fraud is disputed. And this tweet can't be replied to, retweeted, or liked due to risk of violence. Really? What do they think of you? Why is it? I'm not even going to say why. We know why. We know why BLM, we know why Antifa can do crazy things. And I don't want to equate these. In fact, I want to say that what happened yesterday is more dangerous because it went after the very source of the political unit. The very source, the very iconic source, the headquarters, the Legion of Doom for the political unit. You go after that, that's different than burning down a house. It's different. But that also shows that's a symptom. Again, look past the symptoms and to the sources and say, what is causing this? How long has it been going on? How sick is the organism to get to this place where symptoms like that are beginning to emerge on all sides? It's bad. And it's bad enough. And look, how many of you, I had friends, man, they're like, I'm pushing really hard for Loeffler. I'm pushing really hard for Purdue. And I was the one I told you guys. I said, look, there's the video of Purdue talking about how he could work with Biden. I think we'd do a good job with him. In fact, I think we'd do even better with Biden. I'm looking forward to working with the Biden administration. Really? And people were all shocked. You need to go. You need to save the republic. These people are still buying into the idea that there's an electoral solution. And I'm telling you now, the best you've got is pumping the brakes. The best you got. It's the best you got. Whoop-de-doo. Good for you. I'm pumping the brakes of the clown car. I'm pumping the brakes of the clown car. Ha ha. I'm out of the clown car. You got to get out of the clown car. But yeah, right. And Nick Fuentes says the same thing. And Loeffler is withdrawing her objection to the fraudulent electors. Looks like I was right all along to discourage Republicans from voting for her. We will never win with rhinos. You won't. You're the rhinos and all them. It's pumping the brakes. Clown car going over the freaking cliff at 115 miles an hour, accelerating at a mind-boggling pace. And people are like, oh, you got to pump the brakes a little bit. I'm like, get out of the clown car or turn that bugger around. And the only way to turn that bugger around is to do what? Are you going to convince the person, the loon bird, consumed with sin and the love of money? Are you going to convince that person by having a reasonable debate when the cultural situation and atmospheric situation inside the clown car is that the debate is over and that you are a bad person. And that what they're doing is destiny. It's inevitable. Stunning. And you've got this. Let me make my screen bigger so I can see better. So yeah, okay. So there was a post that was talking about what's needed. Okay, a robust audit, and it's my glasses in the light. That's what it is. Sorry about that. Yeah, let me scooch up a little bit. I don't want to have that light doing the weird glitchy thing on me all the time. A robust forensic audit of the ballots in all these states could determine the extent of fraud in these states. Okay, Jovan Pulitzer. We highly recommend this to get at the truth in this election. These are the various scenarios that could happen. Now, this is before yesterday. Number one, Pence accepts all Trump's ballots in these 7 swing states and the election's over. 2, Pence accepts all Biden ballots. 3, Pence accepts neither Trump or Biden's ballots and asks the states to provide one set of electoral college members at a future date. 4, Pence accepts neither Trump or Biden's ballots and the vote goes to the House with 1 vote per state. We'll see what happens. And we did. We did. And people were like, man, do you trust in Mike Pence? I'm like, heck no, I don't. Heck no, I don't. Dude, look at what he did with General Flynn. Look at what he did with General Flynn. He was a never Trumper, man. I was shocked. In fact, having Pence on board was one of those decisions that I think only nostalgic boomers, and no offense to the boomers watching the show, but I think only nostalgic boomers see anything in that guy that's like, oh, that was a wise decision. Pence is dope. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. How you know that so many of the things that were going wrong had to do with his chief of staff and aides? Did you know this? From the beginning. But he said Mike Pence, Trump posted this, didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. USA demands the truth. Here's the thing. That's another one of those at the bottom. This claim of election fraud is disputed and this tweet can't be replied to, retweeted, or liked due to a risk of violence. We don't apply the standard to anybody else, but nobody else are the deplorables. You can say the craziest junk. You can see it from the highest levels. Maxine Waters, all of them. You go back and look, you can see it. And I don't want to complain about it anymore. We've already seen how many shows have you seen that they'll just list one after another of all the hypocrisy. That's not an answer. We already know this. We're through with it. We're done. In fact, there's a video. I would have shown this one. It goes back and it talks about people in the media and people who are on the left, who are politicians at the highest level, justifying violence, justifying riots, justifying fires and everything getting burned to the ground. They justified it one after another, after another, after another. And you know what they called it? It was the outcry, right? It's the language of those who are not heard. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. And here's the thing. Trump said this again. These are things, and this is why when people say he was sidelined or that he turned his back, you tell me if this right here is turning back. These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. You'd almost think he's listening to my show. I've been saying this. I mean, he's been saying it for a long time too. I knew of stuff he was saying years and years ago. But it's inevitable. When you get to this place, where it's like, where politicians, they just simply don't care anymore. They don't care about you. They don't care about your family. They're willing to do anything for power, anything at all. And you go, what is the recourse then? What's a person to do? What's a person to do? Go door to door again? Should we do a call center? Should we do that? Hey, you want to come and help at the call center? You want to use the app and call a bunch of people? We got the script for you. It's all you got to do. Screw you. No more. That is not how it happens. And you know how we know for a fact that that's not how it happens? Because we had Donald Trump. Donald Trump is by far, love him or hate him, no matter what people stand, by far, number one, the president who most represented the middle American radicals' populist view of the United States of America. Number one. Number two, he is the one person, unlike anybody else I've ever seen in politics, who is able to wake up every day with everybody around the world coming at him at every level, coming at him, and he continues marching on. And the worst thing people can say is sometimes he's a crybaby and whines. And if that icebreaker, if that train, crushing through stuff left and right, if that is not able to overcome this, then you tell me, what, a representative, a state senator, a city commissioner, is that what you're telling me? You just need to go vote. No, dude, that's a lullaby to put people to sleep. It is. It's a lullaby. People just want to go to sleep, and they want to feel that vote that they have, that minuscule thing that literally is quite powerless. In fact, quite powerless. People say, "What do you mean it's powerless?" And you go, "If power is divided amongst the constituents, how many constituents are there in that pie? Do you believe that you are the one? Do you believe that representative or that senator is representing the one? Then you're worse. It's obvious that you've been listening to that lullaby because you're straight dreaming, homie. You're straight dreaming. Good luck with that one. Good luck.
The vice president as president.
Okay, so here we go. I want you to hear. I want you to hear here. This is Pence's speech, okay? I want you to hear this.
The vice president as president of the Senate would like to give a brief statement with the indulgence of the senators. Today was a dark day in the history of the United States Capitol. But thanks to the swift efforts of U.S. Capitol Police, federal, state, and local law enforcement, the violence was quelled. The Capitol is secured, and the people's work continues. We condemn the violence that took place here in the strongest possible terms. We grieve the loss of life in these hallowed halls, as well as the injuries suffered by those who defended our Capitol today. And we will always be grateful to the men and women who stayed at their posts to defend this historic place. To those who wreaked havoc in our Capitol today, you did not win. Violence never wins. Freedom wins. And this is still the people's house. And as we reconvene in this chamber,
I'm just going to cut it off right there. Freedom wins, man. Freedom wins. You know what I mean? Freedom wins, guys. You know that? Let freedom ring, man. You know what freedom is? Freedom is having your votes completely stripped from you. You know what freedom is? Not having anybody represent you, all the while manipulating you like crazy to tell you that you've got to vote for them, and if ever they lose, that you're to blame. You know what freedom is? Freedom's able to be yourself and to worship as you please. And oh, I'm so sorry, from home. You know what freedom is? Freedom is being told you're not allowed to go to your job. You're not allowed to keep your business open. You're not allowed to pay your employees. You're not allowed to flesh out your work your vocation with fear and trembling. You're not allowed to do that, but you must pay your bills. You must pay your rent. You must pay off your loans. Or you're in big trouble, mister. Or you're in big trouble, mister. Freedom reigns, man. Freedom wins, dude. Freedom. Oh, yeah. You know what? Freedom. This guy's a joker, man. He is a freaking joker. Look at the way. Number one, we know, and this is not an endorsement to say this is a good thing. It's just the nature of reality. If he thinks that freedom is not caught up in an intimate and necessary relationship with violence, then he's cuckoo. How do you think you even have it, man? A Declaration of Independence, dude. How do you think that took place? What do you think happened with that? You think it just magically fell from the sky? What kind of weird myth is floating in your head, dude? Weirdo, bro. Why does he believe in a military? Why does he believe in those police? Why does he believe in that? Because he believes that peace, order, and freedom require at least the capacity to commit what? You want to call it justice? You want to call it justice? What do you call it? What do you call it in a world? And if people say you do not have the right, this is an old debate. People say you don't have the right to secede, for example. They'll say you don't have the right to secede. And I say that makes sense from a superorganism, but it doesn't make sense that a superorganism would say that if the superorganism, meaning the government, the concentration of power in the political realm in your area, that it doesn't make sense when the only reason for that thing's existence is secession. It makes no sense. That's like you know, what was the meme? You know, oh, don't throw the tea into the harbor. That's not American. What's wrong with this guy? What is wrong with him? Oh, I'll tell you what's wrong with him. He's the same type of person who would not only unfollow Donald Trump on Twitter, but then post at the top of his Twitter, post Kamala Harris and Joe Biden at the top, holding it with victory. Yay! He's a backstabbing goon. His career, by the way, his career is over. Look, you think that brand of conservatism is coming back? Yeah, right. He should have never been there in the first place. Some stupid decisions have been made. It might be too late now. Either which way, if it comes back, what would be the policy with this guy? You're out, champ. You're done, buddy. You are through, dude. And it's crazy because a girl died. Syrian girl posted this. A single tear rolls down her face. Ashley Babbitt. She points to her neck as she suffocates to death. They won't tell you her name. They would say, a girl. A girl died. People died. She's a veteran of 14 years. A veteran of 14 years. And we know now which shooter it was. We don't know his name, but we know who it is. You can see the video. You can actually, I have a copy of it. I won't share it on the show. I won't share it on the show, but we've gotten the video now so you can see which side they come from and you can see the shot. More footage will come out. It's kind of like seeing the footage and seeing that the doors, in fact, and that the barricades were opened. They didn't pummel over people. Them buggers were opened up. People walked through it. You'll find more and more as time goes by. But the whole point, though, is that, you know, it's all about the freedom. There's no such thing as the violence. That's just not how it works. And you say, dude, you don't understand freedom then. Period. You don't understand it. Because even to preserve it, you need to have the capacity and, in fact, in many ways, to enact it. And it gets to the point, like any superorganism, it gets to the point where it's so engulfed you, it's so entrenched itself all around that it all of a sudden believes it has its own power and its own rights, its own thing. No connection anymore. They changed the rules. It doesn't apply to them. And we know that the violence has intimidated them. Number one, we saw what happened. What would you do? Would you hide too? To be honest, if you knew that people had come in and forced their way in, would you hide and cower? That'd be a tough situation not to, wouldn't it? I don't want to be rude about that. But that's obviously afraid. Booking downstairs, what are you going to do? What's Mike Pence going to do? Do, kung fu? What's he going to do? There were police officers cowering in fear. Terrified for their lives. Shaken, completely shook. Shell-shocked. But not only that, look at why the Supreme Court decided that they were going to pass on the Trump lawsuits. Remember why. Roberts didn't want anything to do with that. He knew the precedent behind it. He didn't want anything to do with that because he knew that there would be craziness on the streets, that Black Lives Matter would do the same thing that they did, that Antifa would do the same thing that they did. And look at the way that fear works. Look at the way they're intimidated. All of these bigwigs, whenever big lobbyists come at them and say, we're going to pull the money, you're not going to get those perks anymore. You're not going to get the cotton candy anymore. And you got a sweet tooth. I've seen it. I've seen the power it has over people. And think about this. If people think I'm being too tough on Mike Pence, think about this. Our prayers are with the family of George Floyd. And our prayers are also with the family of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia. We have no tolerance for racism in America. We have no tolerance for violence inspired by racism. And as President Trump said, justice will be served. Then he went and said, thank you to the incredible Capitol Hill police officers and every law enforcement officer for keeping us safe today. Thanks to your service. The Capitol was secure, and we're truly grateful. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. That's their job. What do you expect? What did I warn you about? I said, look, the idea of back the blue, my blue right or wrong, that's as garbage as my nation right or wrong. It's totally garbage. I already told you guys yesterday, I'm done with that few bad apple crap. I'm done with that. And I've been done with it for a long time. This isn't a new thing. I've been critical of these structures of power for a very long time. So I get why he thanks them. But why won't he say her name? Why won't he say her name? Now, in fairness, again, layers of fairness. And this is controversial for me to post this here, but I'm going to do it. Gavin McInnes, he wrote this on Parler. It looks like that woman who got shot is dead. Why is retarded feminism infecting the right too? Storming the Capitol, and if you get caught up with that R word, I'm reading it, I'm quoting it, but I want you to think, storming the Capitol is about the most dangerous thing you could do. What brother or father or boyfriend thought it would be a good idea to bring her? Why was she there? I understand wanting to be like, look, and she's in the Air Force. I don't mean to be rude to the Air Force, but come on. You're going to go in there. You're going to be facing down. You can, there are guns all around you. The Pence team's got guns. What are you doing there? Why are you in there? And if people say, well, that's rude. And I say, no, there's a good reason why traditionally women have not gotten in positions like that. There's a good reason why I will never encourage my daughter to join the military. Never. Period. Never. I don't even believe it's a good decision at all. And for many reasons. For many reasons. But what person thought that was a good idea? Like, oh yeah, let's get her in here and let's have her at the front line over at the, over inside the Capitol. You have to understand where you are, for crying out stinking loud. If somebody said, Jeremiah, we're going to today go busting into the Capitol, I would say, if you're actually serious about this, you need to know that's about the closest thing to actual incitement of war that you've ever done and that I've ever seen in the entirety of my life, ever. My dad's never seen anything like that. I've never seen anything like that. And if you're going to do that, don't bring your stinking phone. And if you do bring your phone, don't sit there and take pictures of yourself. Selfie time. It ain't selfie time, son. You're at that point, you're barely better than the freaking TikTok nurses. Yo, man, check it out, dude. I'm up inside the White House. Woo! You know it can come along, what is it, a 20-year sentence? Good luck. That's why I say just because something happened. That's why I always focus and say these are evidences. What is it an evidence of? I'm not taking it as a tactic and saying, oh, it's a good idea. But I'm saying it's an evidence of something that predates yesterday. And it was unsurprising that when that happened and they made it through those doors, I was watching live, that it happened right after they sang the national anthem. Unsurprising. There again, once again, you get into this, to the root of the thing, to the source of the thing, and say, what causes this? What is it? And what's going to happen now? Will that go away? Or is it just gonna get worse? Because we had a situation, acting Secretary of Defense acknowledging that he and the Joint Chiefs Chairman did not discuss deploying the National Guard with President Trump, but rather with VP Pence and congressional leaders, with Pelosi, McConnell, Schumer, Representative Hoyer, and Mike Pence, to deploy the National Guard. Those are the people that he said he went to. Chairman Milley and I just spoke separately with the Vice President. That's the claim. How is that, by the way, how is that not an evidence of a coup? How is that not evidence? And how does that not play back into the whole thing that we've been saying all along, that even the impeachment process was itself evidences of the fact that this coup had already been going on, and that this was used as something that would be a cover-up in its own way. And so here's what they're doing. The 25th Amendment provides the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other body as Congress the ability to remove the president from office. Impeachment under the 25th Amendment would effectively bar Trump from being able to seek a second term in office in 2024. Democratic representatives sent a letter to Mike Pence requesting that he invoke the amendment. Again. And I mentioned this earlier. I won't even go on to it again. But Pence betrayed General Flynn in 2017. Earlier today, we said Vice President Mike Pence would end the day in history branded as a hero or as a traitor to his country. We now know the answer. This afternoon, while the president was speaking to 1 million patriots in the Capitol, VP Pence released his memo. And there you go. Do you trust a neocon ever? Should you trust them ever? I don't, and I won't. Yeah. So, okay. Oh, yeah. I'm just noticing what's on screen. So I don't like busting the chops of people like Michael Matt, right? Michael Matt is, I like him on a number of things. There's a number of things that I like about him. Okay. But he said right here, he said, I was sounding the alarm against the steal all throughout 2020, but now cooler heads must prevail. Mike Pence is not deep state. And to suggest that he is only completes Soros's coup against Trump. We lost a big battle, but the war's not over. For God's sake, keep it together. Now, I agree with him on that. But the truth is, he's LARPing out of his mind. He's LARPing out of his mind here. The idea that somebody that's been in politics as long and as deep as him, the idea that that guy who's been so beholden with lobbyists, the guy that's been so beholden with many, many interests, ambitions of power, the idea that that guy is on the up and up, man. Oh, he's on the up and up, dude. This guy's real good. Again, it's the idea that so many people have that they get fooled by the optics. TV is not real, man. Even what I'm doing a little bit right now. The truth is, somebody asked me recently, they said, are you the same exact person that you are on the show? And I said, do you think I talk that way when I'm around my kids? Never. Do you think, if you don't think there's a spectacle to this? I'm talking into a freaking camera. Politics is pageantry. And that guy's been prancing around for a long time. Stop falling for the LARPs, too. You know, like people for what they're good at. If if I wanted to talk about cooking, and I'm sitting here talking about cooking every day, I'd say, you guys should probably turn the channel. I kind of suck at that. If I was talking about competitive swimming, I'd be like, I'm not very good at competitive swimming. Don't follow me for that. But if it's something that I'm good at and I stick to what I'm good at, and I'll tell you right now, Michael Matt is not necessarily the guy that anybody should be following when it comes to politics. I'm sorry to say it. But what's he going to do? What does he believe? The next time around, I want to ask you, the next time around, you just mark this day, the next time around, him or anybody else, ask yourself, are they putting it in? You need to go out and vote. We need to do this. We can take it back. How long has that been going on? Does he believe there's an electoral solution to this? Does he believe that democracy, that is the part of the source and reason why our culture and civilization is broken, can also be part of the fix? It's like a Beautiful Mind. John Nash is ticked off and says, he's not taking his meds. He starts seeing all the crazy patterns everywhere. He's going out into the garage. And he's talking to his wife, who realizes he's not taking his meds. And they have the psychiatrist over, and the psychiatrist is saying, why aren't you taking your meds? John Nash insists, how smart he is. He knows that he's extremely brilliant, one of the greatest geniuses of the day. And he says, why can't I fix this with my mind? He said, because your mind is the problem. Your mind is actually the problem, man. You're trying to fix it with a broken. You're trying to fix the broken brain with the brain. That's broken. Democracy. This is, in fact, what democracy looks like. It is. And again, not to dog him. If I was trying to do what he does, or Tim Flanders, and trying to play that game, I've studied a lot of theology. I enjoy it, but not at the level of these guys. Liturgical history, all that stuff. To each his own in that way. But come on now. But it's not just him. You've got Biden, right? So Biden, he says, this is a reminder, and a painful one, that democracy is fragile. That's an understatement. It's an understatement. To preserve it requires people of goodwill. Valid point. Leaders with the courage to stand up. Good point. Who are devoted not to pursuit of power. Good point. And personal interest. Another good point. At any cost. Totally true. But to the common good. Yeah. Sounds great. Sounds like he got out of a Cracker Jacks box. He did. The guy gets Hallmark cards about democracy, and he splatters them all over the place. What he's saying is actually true. And like I said here on my Twitter, if you're not following me, I encourage you, as long as I last on there, I'll keep doing my thing. But it says, in fairness, it wouldn't be a jagged pill were it not peddled by China Joe. The election thief. And, the serial plagiarizer. Yeah. The clown who's down with the sickness of lopping little wieners off of confused little boys. That guy. This is why it's unbelievable. This is the pageantry. Do you see? Must we do the Clockwork Orange to you? Must we? Or can you just simply open your eyes and recognize right now that what we're seeing here is just as true with Joe Biden in this tweet right here as it was with people like Mike Pence, like it was with all those scumbags who put a knife in the back of President Trump last night? Their careers are over. They're over. Well, Donald Trump, he's getting censored like crazy, but he's encouraging the idea. He's saying, look, don't go out. You got to go home. You got to go home. And here's the problem with that. Oh, yeah. First of all, this. Peaceful protesters versus dangerous rioters. Is this getting through yet? I saw this on Telegram. And I thought about it. I said, here's the problem with this. The problem with this is actually that one of those is more dangerous of a situation. And I mentioned that earlier. It is an actual dangerous situation. But it's a symptom of something that's very, very volatile. That's why I said that flashpoint where those civilizations clash, where they cross, where one group is rising and another is coming down, when they cross each other, it is dangerous. That's why I have the urgency that I do to put this stuff out there and say, look, we need to begin thinking this through and knowing what's coming our way, because this doesn't just roll itself back. It's reached a place. Like I was talking to my dad yesterday, and we were kind of tossing out ideas as to what we think can happen. And one of those was a great awakening, right? I've said that here. However, the problem with that is that even if there was a great awakening, the idea that it would be big enough, to make a political difference, right? Where the levers of power at all the different levels, that would somehow magically be different, would have to assume that the enemy in this situation had not been turned over by God to a depraved mind. And we can see right now with the left that when it comes to issues of God, when it comes to issues of what's right and wrong, who we are, where we're going, why we're here, on each of these things, their minds have been seared. And worse than that, they've been turned over because they worship the creation, not the creator. Because they worship the kingdom of man, because they've exchanged their relations that are natural. It makes me gag even thinking about it. Exchanging natural relations for those which are not. That's why I've said it's not just a little bad. When I was talking to my kids, I said, let's put up a worldview here that talks about this belief about people and relationships and marriage and love and the duty you have to other people, and let's lay it all out. Okay? And if we lay it all out and we say, this is what God says, what does the left say right now? Increasingly, it's not even just a little deviation here and a little deviation there. It's actually so far that in many ways, it's the antithesis to it. And I said, if this is what God says, and that's what they say, then what do you call what they say? Satanic. It's diabolical, not just wrong. So even with the Great Awakening, even with tons of people coming to the faith, even with revival in the land, and the history of revival is consistent. The history of revival over and over and over and over and over again. Every time. When that happens, it's emotional. People get emotional about it. They don't. They get wrapped up in the emotion. That's inevitable. We've said this. It's inevitable that when people are in a place of distress and they're so sad because they've seen the world go so far from anything they ever imagined and knew, that they feel so distressed over it that they find themselves running back. That's okay. But it's insufficient. It's not enough. Because that emotion and those experiences will wear off. If you don't believe me, go and check out what's happening down at Azusa Street. Go ask yourself what is happening over at the Toronto Vineyard. Ask yourself what is happening at the Pensacola assemblies down there in Brownsville. Go ask yourself what's happening with any of those revivalist movements. Go ask yourself what's happening with the Quakers and the Shakers. Go ask yourself what's happening. These were movements. These were awakenings that took place. Highly emotional. For many, life-changing in many ways. But did it change the trajectory? No. And the reason why is this. Because it did not accept. It is beholden in many ways to an idea of progress. And that civilizational progress in this way, and you've got the antiquity that were bad, and the medieval that we're learning, but still pretty bad. And then you have, as it gets further and further along and further away from that, technological advancements as it goes. We're just getting better and better and better all the time. Better and better and better all the time. But the truth is that, the truth is that without an understanding of a worldview, without a kind of social theory, without some kind of cultural theory that's going to give you an understanding of the world and specifically regarding the social rights of Christ the King, the cultural rights of Christ the King, not just an idea that's like, well, I like this one better. It's like, I like vanilla, I like chocolate, I like the kingdom of man, I like, the social rights of Jesus. I like the social rights of Jesus. It's not that. It's not down to flavor. But most people don't, and so it's surface level, but then it goes away. Then it goes away. And they're left no better off. But I wanted to say this too, that a lot of people, they don't understand that some of the problems that we have right now, when people talk about separation in church and state, we are talking about the founding, by the way. The founding, the federal founders. And I've decided I'm actually going to begin, I'm probably going to do it as a special thing. It's not going to be live or anything like that. But talking about and instructing, going through the book, political polytheism. I mentioned it yesterday. The idea that within the founding documents, there were kind of time bombs in a way. That as culture goes, it would be separation in church and state. And people can argue all day long, well, that's not what it originally meant. And so what? That's why it's a time bomb. No religious test clause. Well, that's not what it originally meant. It's a time bomb. It is consistent. And you can say, but we have to go back and what they actually meant and say, look, you can do that all day long. You can try to do that all day long, but it's been a slow grind. It's a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and we've all become acclimated after a while. We get into arguments, but then we become acclimated. And if you don't believe that, try to think back, I don't know, even 10, 15 years to the way that people viewed the LGBT community, right? Before it was even a T. The LGBT community, and then go inside churches now and ask them, say, where do you stand on that? Money Down says they're going to have a hesitancy. Well, I don't, it's not right, but, they're cool. We need something deeper than that. And we need to understand that when people, look at this. Please stop. We can work this out. We gonna burn this country to the ground. Time to die. I want a fair election. It's true. It should spook the crap out of you. And we need to really be aware of this, okay? I'm going to wrap up here soon. I'm going to wrap up here. Let me get back here. Because the establishment class doesn't understand the predicament. And that's on the right and on the left. They don't understand the nature of this. And that's why I've told you, I've said it twice. I'm going to tell you a third time. Go to my YouTube channel. Watch those videos. If you don't do that, tell me, give me your opinion when you go and listen to it. Okay. Tell me if you think that I'm wrong on the development of how we got where we are. And that's one of the reasons why I want to do the thing with political polytheism, the book. Specifically, the section of the book regarding the conspiracy in Philadelphia, which is the federal founders, by the way, which was a dramatic departure. It was a dramatic departure from the colonies on core things that over time we just so happen to be concerned about. Go, well, they didn't mean it that way. You say some of them probably did, actually. If you know the kind of training that they had theologically and some of their views, they were esoteric, Freemasonic. Are you surprised? I mean, look, you know what? Even George Washington, the idea he was told at the church that he went to, where did he go? King's Church. Told if you don't take, he started noticing, right, that he wasn't taking communion, and was given the proposition that he should take communion or he shouldn't be there. And guess what? Left. Didn't go back. He didn't want communion. Relative to his understanding. This is unbelievable, though. People don't understand it. But Milo's right here. Now that the euphoria has subsided, let's be honest with ourselves. I quake for anyone who was in D.C. today. They let that happen so they could get every single one of your names and faces from cell phones and other forms of surveillance. And in a few short weeks, the Biden-Harris administration will swing into action. We can't let them get away with it again. Because it's worse than you can imagine. They're already, right now, Congresswoman Cori Bush. I believe the Republican members of Congress who have incited this domestic terror attack through their attempts to overturn the election must face consequences. They have broken their sacred oath of office. I will be introducing a resolution calling for their expulsion. Rashid Tlaib, expel traitors. Rashid. Expel them. And Trump even says, he's like, look, go home, guys. Be peaceful, go home. And what even Donald Trump doesn't get is that we've been activated. We felt for the first time in our entire lives, we felt that there was hope. Not just hope that we would get our way, but hope that we would be heard. Hope that we would have a fighting chance. Because we live in a world where we're surrounded by people and a culture who will look at the color of our skin and act like for some reason because of that, we're just mega dope walking around with pinkies up eating, fancy food. Eating fish eggs and crap. Sipping on some wine, some Cavassier all the time. Like we're just high rollers because we're white. Because we're Christian or we're men. They are wrong over and over again. And they've done it to us our entire lives. And it's only gotten worse. Lie after lie after lie after lie. Every single time. There's no more complaining. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? No more. We can waste the entirety of our freaking lives. I'm sick and tired of wasting it. I'm sick and tired of saying, I'm waiting for somebody to come. I'm waiting for somebody to save us. We need to be that people. We have been waiting for us the entire time. We have been waiting for us. And we are activated. We are alive. But we can't get caught up in the idea that Trumpism was ever actually and ultimately about Donald Trump. That's lights out. It is about the social, political, and cultural rights of Christ the King. Period. And we have to know that the techniques and the tactics that we use and that we put in place, that these things matter. Why? Because I, hypocrite, over at Twitter, on Vox, riots are destructive, dangerous, and scary. Totally true. But can lead to serious social reforms. True. True. We need to have many tools of our resistance and tools of restoration. And sometimes those don't go as easily and as nicely as you would think. But now, every person who forced their way into the Capitol should be arrested, lock them all up. And the truth is, they're actually right about it. They're right about it. Look, it's a violation of the law. It's a violation of the law. I say the same thing of the people who go and burn buildings down. I say you need to drag them their butt into the freaking jail. You need to do that. But at the same time, that is a consequence of activism. And if you're unwilling to do that, you don't understand the nature of the war. If you're not willing to put yourself in a place where you might go to jail, find another day job. Stay at home. Because Dave Smith is right. He's right. Trump's opposition and Trump are both guilty of the same foolishness. They both think that it's about Trump. Trump was a warning to America. A warning about how much the system has failed, I would say of its own design, and how furious people are, which I would say is inevitable given the design. It was ignored, and it's going to get worse. I would only add to that as it gets better. Because we are not deconstructive. We are radicals, but not revolutionaries, because we are about restoring. We are about reconciling people. The Great Awakening is the idea that we want to reconcile the world with God. When I say take a knee for Jesus Christ, that is restorative. It is reconciliation. Repentance. Repentance. And it gets better because the trajectory of that kingdom is not contingent. It's not like, well, I guess we've just let God down. God is sitting there thinking, up in heaven, biting his nails. Give me a break. The God is spooked. Oh, man, I really hope. I don't know how I'm going to do it if Trump doesn't win. Ah! Give me a break. Are you out of your mind? God is inside a Trump-shaped box. He's not trapped inside a 21st century box or a 20th century box or a federal constitution box. He's not trapped inside of that. The rise and demise of any of those things, unfortunate for us. And those are tools. Those are mechanisms that God works through. God works through space and time. He works through people and programs and policies and positions and principles. But he's bigger than that. And he's working through you. And so moving forward for all of this, because this is done. I'm done. Moving forward with all of this.
Love.
Yeah. I just want to say, first of all, I love being part of this with you. Oh, man, that's messed up. Look at all that weird green. I love being part of all of this with you. I love the idea that together we are working very hard at making this place better than we found it. And that we do it every day by howling at the sun. That we raise our glass high, that we promise to resolve each and every day to say, look, this is wicked bad, by the way. This is wicked bad. If you don't think there's a possibility that you could be labeled an enemy of the state within a very short period of time, you aren't seeing clearly. But even in times like these, especially in times like these, we have to stand strong. We have to never give up. We have to keep on smiling and realize that this is a long game. It's been going on for 2,000 years, man. You know how many people have come and gone? You know how many different empires come and gone? High cultures come and gone? Do you know? Can you count them? Do you know how many broken hearts have happened? How many people have lost elections when they said everything's hinging on this? But just as there are evidences and fruit and symptoms of an underlying illness, we can begin to see the symptoms that have arisen, some of them with a great sense of wild urgency and maybe just a little bit of insanity, but things rising up as fruits and evidences of something underlying that in fact is quite good. It needs to be harnessed. It needs to be properly directed. We need to understand the situation. We need to understand, how did it happen? Where did it come from? What are those nuanced things? How do we restore all of this? And if you don't understand what I mean by that, go back to that video that I did. Go back to that video about restoring all things in Christ, the encyclical. Go back. It's got a Pope on the front. Go back. Listen to it. Because we ain't giving up, guys. And ladies. We're not giving up. We're going to keep on pounding forward because it's only just begun. And it doesn't matter. Whatever happens, it doesn't matter. It's only just begun. And you can trust that I'll be back tomorrow. And the next day, unless something happens, and you never know. You never know. I'm sporting this the day after yesterday. It can get pretty rough. I'm one of those people, put myself out on the line a long time. And I'm talking, look, I know that a lot of the stuff that I'm saying today, is stuff that Facebook and elsewhere have said, if you say those things, it could land you in a lot of trouble. If you don't see me, if you don't find me, make sure Paleocratdiaries.com. I'm not even kidding about this. Like, I refuse to do the zip the lip crap for the Tower of Babel. I refuse to do the see no evil, hear no evil that the Tower of Babel builders are committing. I refuse. And that is a risk. I could lose so many videos. I could lose so much investment that I've done over the years. So much of what I've done as an identity, as someone who has a vocation and a calling in his life. So much of those things. And it doesn't matter. If they take that away, I roll with that. If they take that away, I roll with that. And I'm glad that I've got you. Because we can win together. We can do this. No fear. Do not cower. Because Christ has all the power. To the comments. And then we're done. Let's see here. Oh, boy. Okay, as Karen says, not using Facebook again. Everybody should do it. Shut Facebook down. I just started using it again, by the way. I just started using it again. I'm so sorry to tell you. Only because I really don't know other ways to get out the idea. I mean, we could make magazines and everything else, but if everybody is in this kind of electric village, what do? It's like trying to say that people shouldn't be drinking and they shouldn't all be, drunkards and stuff. And you're like, well, go tell them. And you say, well, they're all in the bar. Where are you going to go? Doing Amazon delivery. Adam says, doing Amazon deliveries. Keep me entertained, Paleocrat. I'll do my best, Adam. I will do my best, brother. Well, let's see. John says, it's over. The last vestiges of the Republic died yesterday. It's one of those things. Like I have taken the position that the idea of republics, I'm okay with that, obviously. At the same time, ours had some serious fatal flaws from the beginning. And part of those were, I believe, by design. And I'm hoping to be able to spell this out in what I believe to be a very compelling way. And it's one of those books that formed the life of my mind, in fact, for many, many, many years. And so we'll talk about that. Political Polytheism. It's a fantastic book. Let's see here. John says, now is the time to endure these trials. Yes. And it's the time to build. It's the time to smile. It's the time to carry a cross with a smile on your face. Hopeful, because your cares, as painful as they are and as difficult as it is, all those cares are thrown onto the man who died on that cross. And he ain't there anymore. He ain't there anymore. He is in heaven reigning right now. Let's see. Bethany says, I'm not allowed to go to my job. What? You're not allowed to go to your job? I didn't know this. I had no idea. Let's see here. John says, Pence would be like, let's support King George for the American freedom. You know, it's one of those things, it's not like us to fight back. It's not like us. We, don't do that. That's not American. And you're like, no, it is more American than apple pie. It really is. It is the founding. It is, come on, man. Well, okay, it's the federal founding. Let's be clear about this. It's the federal founding. Okay? Not the colonial founding. Let's see here. Bethany Brown, I don't know. That's not how someone dies when they get shot in the neck. I'm not believing it. I was actually going to say that I'm anticipating learning more. Again, why would she be in the front? Why 14 years in the service? But I also don't want to deny that she's died at the same time. You don't want to do that. It's one of those things where it's pretty wicked. It's pretty evil. But I also, we're dealing with a major coup. We're dealing with the color revolution. We're dealing with so many things. It's difficult. I think that some of the videos that were shown of the cop running up the stairs and turning around and doing this crap and waving his wand and everything, his baton, the asp. I don't believe that that's entirely real either. Let's see. Here. CF says, maybe I'm more conspiratorial, but I suspect this is all great reset stuff. You think that Trump's even in on it, and he's going to sabotage his career and stuff, and sabotage his legacy? I don't know, man. You might be more conspiratorial. I don't know. No. I mean, look, the deep state, the globalists. I mean, this is like a massive thing, dude. Yeah, false flags everywhere. I agree with that. Yeah, Soul War. America is self-destructing. Kiss it goodbye. Look, you're seeing it in its death throes. And that's let me make really clear. I don't believe that restoring the republic, just the restoration of America. Let's just put it that way. The idea of the restoration of America and restoring all things in Christ will be the same thing as saying that we're bringing America back, or that we're going back to the founding fathers and we're doing that. I'm not saying that that's even at this point in a cycle, right? In a cultural and civilizational model that I embrace, to sit there and say, man, we're going to go back to ideas that really only made sense in many ways with the social imaginaries that were available at the time. And that's simply not the age we're living in. I don't know what to say. And so mine's a timeless one. And I think one of the reasons why it's easy for me to say is because I have never bought into the idea that the founding fathers were inspired to write that. I don't believe that God does a lot of the inspiration like that with people who, a significant number, not all, but a significant number of them, number one, were super shady toward the Anti-Federalists, number one. It did things that were outrageous. And number two, that were into the kind of esoteric world of Newtonian stuff, Newtonian theology, and the way that a lot of them were taught, as well as brands of Freemasonry. Okay, I don't downplay that. I don't overemphasize. I understand. I've heard arguments by otherwise well-intended Catholic people who equally loathe Freemasons as I do. I'm not entirely convinced by that, but no matter what, to say yes, okay. Even if you want to pretend, that it's not real Freemasonry, I'm like, yes, it is. It's obviously Freemasonry. It's wicked bad. It's been totally condemned. But at the same time, Newtonian theology, stuff like that, I mean, right out of it, dude. And so I don't subscribe to that. So I don't believe that it was like inspiration in the same way that the evangelists had inspiration. If you want to say it was a really good idea or the best idea for the time or a paradigm shift in thinking regarding the relation of a populace to, you know, the politics and stuff and the idea of rights. But even some of those, you know, I say some of the way that was worded, because it was worded in a way that was curiously humanistic in that sense, and not so rooted in the Trinitarian God. It's what the first covenantal model that's now a social contract rather than a covenantal one. Doesn't have a specific reference to the Trinitarian God. Stands alone as what the first of its kind in that way. I mean, come on. So I don't believe that is going to be what we go forward with. I believe that there's much to salvage from that, but you know, that's just the way that is. And at this point, you know, as I said, it would take a lot to return back to that. It's like trying to fight over the idea that the gay flag is not really gay, and saying, I mean, dude, hey, let's get a big movement, guys. We're all mad about it. Nobody likes the idea. Nobody who's not queer out of their mind likes the idea that the gay flag is like, oh yeah, it's a rainbow. It's, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah crap. You know, nobody's liking that. Nobody's digging it, not on the religious side of things. And they fought that for years and years and years. You know, we'll go ahead and try to bring it back, dude. You know, start wearing rainbow shirts around and everything else. I'll let you know, die on that hill if you'd like. I'm not going to do it. I don't believe it's necessary. I have better hills to die on. Let's see here. Let's see here. Zach says, I agree with you on Pence. I'm glad you do, man. I put a lot of thought into this stuff. You know, I'm not pulling stuff out of my rear end. You know, not pulling stuff out of my rear end, man. And that's why I'm not leading anybody astray with this. That's why I'm not leading people astray. I said, go back and find where I've led you the wrong way. Go back and do it. And tell me where I've led you the wrong way, or that I've given you a false hope. I've been nuanced. I have sat there and made qualified statements over and over and over again. It's the reason why, and I don't mean to drag his butt back in here. You know, we had a person commenting early on. And I'm like, dude, you're messing with the wrong guy. I don't think you really want to go around with me, buddy. I know him too. He's an otherwise good dude. I don't know what his deal is. Well, I do. Is that it's even infected him. It's even infected him. And by the way, against his own interests. Against his own interests. And if I was with him privately, I would talk to him about it because I know him. And I'd say, dude, come on, man, give me a break. Give me a break, bro. Goofball McDude says, dang, I'm going to have to start listening to this more. Good stuff here. God bless, brother. Dude, thank you, man. And yes, if I could say so, if there's one bit of advice that I could give you, other than what I've said, it is to, you know, listen a lot more. Listen to the show, dude. It's exactly what we talk about. This is how we roll. This is what we're doing here, man. This is what we're doing here. Let's see. The age of man of lawlessness is here, in my opinion. There's many ages of lawlessness, by the way, John. I'm not a futurist when it comes to that. I'm not apocalyptic, man. I've talked about that before. Man. False signs and wonders. Now, I'm open to the idea that that's what is it? Project Bluebeam? What is that called? Let's see here. Maya says, I look forward to a program on time bombs with our Constitution. Sounds great. I'm not making friends, by the way, Maya. I've got a lot of people, man, in the Patriot movement that they'd be like, what? You're not like willing to die for that exact Constitution? I'd be like, no, they weren't even. I mean, they were willing to die for the idea of creating one. But the idea that would remain static, you don't amend an inspired text. You don't amend it. They're admitting there's a possibility that we're going to learn some stuff that it's like, well, we did our best. And these guys are Renaissance men. These guys, it's why I don't like the idea of saying, well, let's take some of the people from the Congress and we're going to go ahead and put them and they're going to make up a new constitution. And I'm like, you know, you give me somebody with the mind like a lot of those people. Give me those people. And the best that most individuals have ever come up with are folks who are really, really neck deep into, you know, scientism and, I don't know, the New World Order. And I'm saying, oh, no. We got to get rid of that. Get out of here. You got to get out of here, man. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. MMSU31 says that world shocked by assault. And there's another thing, world shocked. Are they really? Are they really shocked by that? And well, on the other hand, does it matter much? The assault on the U.S. Capitol by radical pro-Trump people. Their choice of radical is funny because I actually just said yesterday, wear it on your sleeve. And that's why I said some of the stuff that I said was so prescient. The foresight in this show sometimes is unnerving because stuff ends up happening and it's so close to the stuff that we talk about on the show and the way that we're describing over and over, by the way, not just one time. We're talking over and over and over and over again. You watch the show, you pay attention to the show, you're going to be able to see stuff that you just can't even believe. And it's going to start happening more and more and more. And it's a little unnerving. You start talking to your friends and describing it, and next thing you know, something happens like that, and they're looking at you and wondering, dude, are you involved in some weird crap? Are you networking with people to coordinate this? And you're like, no. Again, it doesn't require a prophet with magical eyeballs to see the writing on these walls. It's simple as that. Simple as that. Okay. Let's see here. Wildemont says, weird ass times ahead, brother. Yeah, dude, totally. It's going to be real weird, bro. It's going to be super duper weird. And we got to be careful. We got to be careful. We have to be smart, but we also have to be brave and bold. Okay? Happy warriors, unafraid. Okay? But we have to be smart. We have to know what we're doing. We have to, and it's okay. Sometimes stuff gets out of control and it's all over the place, but there's consequences. There's consequences. And there's going to be consequences to this because even though I wasn't there, and remember, I said that they're going to treat this like the next Charlottesville, didn't I? I said it. I said I was concerned about it. It would be great to go. But at the end of the day, I said, I have a feeling that something is going to happen and it's going to result in such a way that people are going to say, well, it's Charlottesville. This is the new one. And they've wrapped up the president directly with it. It's not just that he's been okay with it, but he was the one that called for it. Will says, love you, Jeremiah. Dude, I love you too, buddy. I love you too, man. Renee says, yes, that finally someone was listening and doing what is right. Totally, Renee. Totally. They're going to do more lockdowns. Yes. What can we do? It is going to be, because we're at a place, look, you've all seen the high watermark now. We've seen the republic, right? The wave that comes and everything else. And we've seen that place, and go back and listen to what I said about it. In fact, I have a video. I don't know if I ever shared it, uploaded that segment where I talk in the beginning, and I'm doing that with my hands and the civilizational model and everything and talking about what this is. But we've reached this point, okay, where it's not even really extremely valuable any longer to emphasize, not that we should ignore it, but to emphasize the problem, like the issues with the enemies, and saying that, well, look at the hypocrisy, or look at the double speak over here. It's still important that those things exist, but they should not consume so much of our time. We should stop emphasizing so much, saying, I can't believe I saw these people do that. Oh, can you believe this stuff? If that's the level you are, man, that's like playground prattle. It is. It's just blah, 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 blah. You got the string on, you're just, blah, 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 and that's all you're doing all day long. And you have to be better than this. We have to be better than this. And it begins with repentance. It begins with taking a knee for Jesus and realizing that it's the common things that we do that are actually going to be more important for the long haul, and that this is not something that's going to be done tomorrow. It's probably not even going to be done in your lifetime, because the way that we're dealing with this government now, number one, it's inside of our shores. It's our land. It's our capital, okay, here in the United States, within the contiguous United States. But also that it's gotten to such a point that for all intents and purposes, it's Leviathan. It's Leviathan. And so the idea that we're going to slay Leviathan, how do you slay Leviathan? That is going to be the emphasis for me. In fact, don't be surprised if I don't do as many memes and stuff like that, and that we actually really, honest to goodness, start breaking out books. Because we have to go back. We have to learn the wisdom from the democracy of the dead, because this is nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun, and we were given a great treasury, a treasury of our faith, a treasury that can guide us through all different times, thick and thin, rain, hail, sleet, snow, doesn't matter. God knows. Let's see here. Armand Tamani says, hello, everyone. Yeah, hello to you, by the way. Yeah, very, very good, very good. Let's see. Diane says, God is still on the throne. You better believe it, man. You better believe it. John says, love you, man. Keep it up. Dude, I love you too, dude. I love you too, dude. Yeah, and people talking about China, the coronavirus, Trump. We'll still talk about stuff like that, obviously. And I have the book, The Great Reset. I'm going to go through and do a series on it. I might actually do more pre-recorded videos that are series that you can find on my website. In fact, I'm going to. I'm telling you right now. And that's where the videos are going to be about the restoration of all things in Christ and how we can actually do that here in a way that's practical, in a way that's down to earth. It does not require you to be some genius with economics or politics or anything else, but it is here to make very difficult issues and ideas, to bring them down in such a way that the everyday person, the Johnny Q and Sally Sue that tune into this show, that you are able to know how you're going to move forward in life. And because we're all looking for this thing, we're all trying to figure it out, and we're only going to find that in the wisdom of God, the fear and wisdom. That's it. That's all we're going to do. That's all we're going to do, man. Yeah, Renee says politicians know how to manipulate the masses. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Diane says, we know you're right. It's just the beginning. Mexico declared the Catholics as the enemy and started executing them. And that's one of the things we must be concerned about. That's why I sat down with my wife and family. We actually talked about what it would be like when the people went in and did what they did. The idea is it's going to label not only the president, but all of those who actively support him. And I think that's why a lot of the politicians, they booked it, man. They were like, look, I'm out. Because normally you would just simply be able to say, well, hey, there are some crazy, why aren't they willing to say, well, there's a few bad apples. Do you know how many people were there? By the way, do you see the crowds that were out there? And then think, even if you gave a high estimate of, let's say, 400 people, I think that's a high estimate for how many people made it into the Capitol like that. If you say 400 people were in there, how many of those people would it take if you replicated that to create the audience that was there at the Capitol? And that's a high estimate, too. All right, let's see. Am I the only one who thinks the whole ending of Winter Soldier seems very legit? I don't remember the ending, dude. Another one says, we will stand together. We will not cower. Yes, that pumps me up, too. That pumps me up because you're right. It's the only way. It's the only way. You cannot cower. You cannot. We must stand together. We must. We need to be the family we don't have. Man, wow. You guys are blowing my mind right now. I'm sorry that I'm going on so long. I didn't want to talk this long. I don't want to be spamming all the time, I'm taking a screenshot of that one. We need to be the family we don't have. See, Democrats knew to truly obtain power, they start on a local level. They do, but their local level would include education. But look, I've told somebody, they said, you used to work with a lobbyist. What are some books you would have people read? And one of those books, or two of them, is Rules for Radicals and Reveille for Radicals. And people go, Saul Alinsky, dude? What are you and Alinsky? And I said, no, you got to understand what their tactics are. You have to understand how they achieved what they've achieved over these years and how long it took. Go back and study what the Catholic Church has said about Freemasons and the history of the Freemasons to find out how long it took to where they weren't even necessarily needed as the same way that they were before, that they were able to morph into other groups and start participating in other groups that still had that shroud of secrecy. Took a long time. Took a long time. Somebody watched Tim Brown's show. I don't know Tim Brown. Sorry about that. Adam says smash like. Dude, yeah, smash like over and over. Hulk smash this episode. Share it with all of your friends if you think that this show is dope, and I hope you do. Number one, this is the kind of intensity and power this show has every day. And the only way I can do this, number one, okay, obviously it's a little bit of who I am, but I get a great deal of my superpowers from you. Okay, it's taking a knee for Jesus Christ, emboldened by the Holy Ghost, okay? Using the gifts and talents that God has given me, worked through me in my life, and working every day with amazing people like you, every single day. It pumps me up. It gets me motivated and excited, so much so that I end up going way over my stinking time. Way over my time. I said, I'm only going to go a couple hours. I lie. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad, dude. Okay. I mean, for clarity, John says he's not a futurist either. I think there are times when the power of Satan is strong. Okay, we're good. We're good on that. Maya says you are such a gem of insight and inspire others to really think. Well done, Paleocrat. More people need to discover you. Thank you. Actually, I try really hard. In fact, I talked to a guy yesterday, and I think I'm actually going to just leave it at this, okay? I talked to a guy yesterday, and this dude, you know, he was kind of being critical in a way, and he's saying, "How is it possible?" He's like, "Look at the setup, you know, look at the camera, look at the technique you've got an intro, you've got all these things, right? Why don't you have more viewers?" I don't have an answer for that. Now, I know that it's a niche thing, you know, and I'm talking about just me and you, no more pizzazzy, no more, we're going to shut it down for a second, okay? Just us. I don't know. I wish, wouldn't it be great, right? But the truth is, my hope is that if I give this my best, and if I believe that God has called me in this moment for times like these, and the talking into a microphone and flipping out over funny stories and getting deep into books and trying to make very complex issues something that the everyday person can appreciate, understand, and apply, activated in their own lives for the restoration of things in Christ, for taking things into dominion for the Lord, that he would get all the glory in all things. If that is something that I can do, and if I believe that I'm called to that, then number one, I'm going to give it my best. And number two, if there's not many people watching, then I have to believe that of those few people watching, that those people need to hear it. And that I need to know them too. And that their works, it may be a small thing. It's just a show, right? It's just a video. It's just one person. It's just one person. You know, let me get in the big screen. I'm going to turn off this thing here. So, oh yeah, I got to get myself off that too. Let's see if I can, I'll scooch back. You know, I went down further. So here's the thing, is that I have to believe that these are not chance encounters, okay? I have to believe that I'm here for this purpose, and when you tune in, that you're going to see something in somebody trying their absolute best. They're going to fail, going to make mistakes. Not a perfect person, not a genius, somebody, you know, who, I know I'm not a genius because I know categorically what I am. I actually know that. So I'm not a savant, okay? But at the same time, to have to believe that just like with my children, that my words and the studying that I do, even if it doesn't change the world, that it's changed people that will change the world. or that will change people who are making people who will change the world. And I have to believe this in my heart, and I do. And that's why I believe that it's okay to have the mom and pop shop. This is my own little candy shop. It's my own little malt shop. And I'm really grateful for every person who comes in. I'm so grateful for all of you. You've helped me in so many ways. I felt like I felt for a long time, and I'm blowing right over. I don't even give a crap. I felt like for a long time that I didn't have a purpose. That my life wasn't going anywhere. That my gifts and my talents just didn't matter. And that whenever I would give my best, because I've given my best for a long time, and when I give my absolute best, and I'm pushing with all my might, and it's super hard, and the world's coming down, and you don't believe that there's an afterlife, if you don't believe there's a God who did that for you, all of a sudden you look, and that starts to reflect on you as if you have no meaning. But God saved me. God saved my life. And he reminded me that sometimes we're given these small things. And sometimes we don't realize how big those small things are. That's the widow's mite. You don't know the relative size of that. That's a sacrifice for her. And she's using it. And she's giving what she's got. And people can mock and people can make fun. But the truth is, at the end of the day, God knew. The people who are given a little and they use it to the best of their ability to glorify God, I have to believe that those people will be blessed. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get 100,000 viewers. I don't think that I will ever be there. It would be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be great? But the truth is, I mean it from the bottom of my heart when I say that even if there was one person, even if, and I can say it because I've done videos where there was one person. I can say that because I did it. And I have to believe that there's a possibility that maybe that one person, and it's not even going to be overnight. What if years and years later, that one person somehow it impacts that individual in such a way that they make decisions that in that way are going to impact so many people. And what makes me even happier is that that's not unique to me. I'm trying to tell you that. I'm trying to tell you that that's true of you. That it doesn't matter. It's why I joke around. I say, during the Wolfpack song, I say, it doesn't matter. Are you a plumber? Who cares, man? It's okay. Are you a janitor? Who cares? Are you a teacher? Who cares? It doesn't matter. You might think that your job is no good. You're like, oh, I'm a cashier. Who cares? It doesn't matter what the world thinks of you. It matters what you are doing to the God that made you. You have to believe. You have to believe it. I do. And I'm asking if it's okay if I believe with you. So I hope we get more. I mean, I'm not crying because I love giving everything I got every day. I do love giving everything I've got, but boy, it would be nice, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to not be so worried about the food. It'd be nice to be able to go and buy a car. And I got friends even tuned in right now that know. They know my situation with the car. I've had people pick me up to go to rallies and stuff. They know it. I genuinely love you guys. And no matter what, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how much everybody starts to hate you. Because it's coming. No matter what they say about you, no matter how they treat you, I love you. And I'm glad that you're my friend. Because the truth is, this is not just a show. This is a movement. This is personal. This is Paleocrat Diaries. And this is the end of the show. I gotta get out of here. I can't cry like this anymore. And I know I've got friends who watch who they're gonna make fun. Oh, it's so heavy. I love you guys. Here we go. Woo! Paleocratdiaries.com. You gotta go. You gotta go. You can subscribe if you love the show. Please subscribe. Become a member if you would like to join us on PayPal. PayPal.com/Paleocrat. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay? Whatever way you'd like to do it. Interviews. You want to interview me? You want to be interviewed on the show? Would love it. Speeches, other inquiries, doesn't matter. Email us, paleocratdiaries@gmail.com. Check out the other shows that we're part of. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff, and make sure, of course, tomorrow to come back again. We're coming back. And until next time, like we do every single show, when I salute you, never give up. Keep on smiling. And memento mori. If I don't talk into microphones, I don't make that mad cash. Making all that money. Making that mad loot, right?
Mind control.
So we see the minority elite imposing their ideology on an unwilling and resentful populace. This causes a backlash. People get ticked off. The left is working long and hard to make us feel as if we've done something wrong. Worse yet, that we are the problem. Don't let people just rip on your heritage. Don't let people just rip on your traditions. Don't let people rip on your heroes. Stand up for what you believe, what made you who you are. So unless this disenfranchised majority begins standing up for what they believe in their heart of hearts to be true, I think we'd be left with nothing more than a dirge, and maybe a funeral procession.